Welcome back to Encounter Roleplay on this fine fun day. It's back to fun day, Virginia. We're back. It's Friday. It's a fun day. We are deep diving into Star Trek adventures. Let's go around, introduce ourselves, say who we are and who we will be playing tonight. And let's begin with the wonderful, I'm so glad he's back, Mr. Pruitt himself. Hello, friends.
Well, hello indeed. It is good to be back in front of the camera and with all of these beautiful and lovely people. I am, of course, Pruitt, one half of WebDM, and tonight I will be playing the Vulcan Chief of Security, Commander Korid, at your service.
And always at our service and always a star here on Encounter Roleplay, welcome in, Cleric of Cord. How are you doing, friend?
I'm doing all right. Hi, I'm Kat. I'm a Clerk of Cord, and I am playing Commander Epic's Chief Medical Officer, also known as Commander Mum, to the crew of our ship, ready to keep them all in line, take care of my children.
And one of her children boldly going with us for the first time, Jay. Welcome, friend. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm mildly terrified. I'm Jay Britton, voice actor and now apparently tabletop streamer player. First time on Encounter Roleplay. I will be playing Chief Specialist Flip Sparrow, Engineer, and hopefully I won't break everything that I touch, but we will see.
And Queen of Quantum Wednesday Night DM, Susanna Grace.
Oh, I could get you introductions like that, Charlie. Keep that up. Yeah. I'm great. Thank you very much.
You're nice to your friends once. And...
yeah, I was happy to be here. I absolutely adore Star Trek, and today I'll be playing Lieutenant Commander Miko, the first officer of the ship.
And not the first officer, but in fact the Federation Game Master herself, Virginia. Hi. How are you doing?
Hi. I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite adventures in Strange New Worlds, so I'm really happy to be running it, and I can't wait to see how much trouble you will get yourselves in. It's gonna be good.
We were already told by Modiphius no trouble with tribbles, but my captain, Captain M. Greenmont, has a hobby, and that is tribble husbandry. Alas and alack, however, for Captain Samuel Webb did slay my pet tribble Tetley. Maybe one day his tank will not stand empty behind me. Who knows? Who knows? But tonight we are, of course, sponsored by the wonderful Modiphius, and I am so grateful to them because it gives me an excuse to play Star Trek on a Friday night with a lot of people that I love and adore. You can check out Star Trek Adventures right now. I believe this is actually Volume 2. This is the second supplement that they have released, packed full of adventures. It was published just yesterday, so this is hot off the press, hot damn. You can check it out by checking out the link that Kat has posted for us wonderfully over in chat. There's a whole host of other goodies that you can pick up from Modiphius, including Game Master screens, dice, the core book, which we might be giving away during the game tonight, so keep an eye out for that over in chat. And there are a few other sponsors that I could not neglect to mention. So, beam me up, past Charlie. Before we begin today's show, I would like to take some time to remind you about our sponsors. Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice. All of the beautiful maps and roles you see tonight are done using Fantasy Grounds, which you can try for free at fantasygrounds.com. You can also get all of your miniatures from Wayland Games. Go to waylandgames.co.uk and get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer and 40k minis for up to 20% off regular retail price. And Tabletop Loot, who sell incredible dice. Go and check them out at tabletoploot.com. And that jolly little jingle means only one thing, that we are back live. And I would be remiss not to also mention that you, my beloved viewers, the Chaos Chorus, can interact with tonight's game. You can do so by checking out the donations down below. You can give crits, fails, banes, boons, twists of fate, Big Crits, which is a auto success for every single member of the cast. And there is, of course, as always, ultimate power. If you're joining us over on YouTube, hello, thank you so much for being here. We are live most of the week in the evening, so please do come and join us. But while you are here watching on YouTube, why not hit that little bell? Hit the little like button if you're enjoying tonight's show, and hit the subscribe button. It's free. We've just hit 20,000 subscribers, and Will and I did a little Ask Me Anything that you can go and watch when you're done watching this stream and boldly going with us. Also, if we do anything of note, why not hit that clip button? We enjoy making our best RPG moments of the week mixes every single week to share with you. Now, without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to the wonderful Virginia to take us away to the Alpha Quadrant. Is that where we're at? Somewhere like that, right?
Something like that, yes, Charlotte. Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Encounter. And we zoom in to this ship as Captain M. Greenmont is stood in her briefing room with her senior crew, about to read the captain's log that she is recording whilst also briefing them on what their next adventure is about to be.
Captain's log, stardate 1511-3.2. We have assumed standard orbit around Tangle IV, an Earth-like planet in the throes of an ice age. For the last 5 years, it has been home to a team of archaeologists and paleoclimatologists. Thanks for these words. Their last report indicated a remarkable find beneath the ice, a collection of the world's crop diversity stored in a doomsday seed vault. Our mission is to resupply and check in on the outpost's personnel. Janik Stoltz is a renowned archaeologist, is the lead of the team and has been living and working here while we resupply the outpost. Oh, I read that wrong. Has been living and working here, and while we resupply the outpost, we will have chance to speak with him and have him show us what the team have been working on. We also have orders to upload a copy of that database to our ship's computer to send back to Starfleet Command. While on this mission, we are expected to uphold Starfleet's usual directives, but also be mindful of Starfleet Order 2, which prohibits the killing of intelligent life forms. With the Doomsday Vault having contained crop diversity, we don't know as of yet if it also contained any living creatures, as the outpost only sends updates every 6 months. That's a reminder, crew, she looks towards Miko, that we must absorb Starfleet Order 2 and not kill any intelligent life.
Miko looks incredibly offended and holds her chin up haughtily, but does not say anything.
So you receive your briefing from your captain, and you start making your way, as you are also the away team in true Star Trek fashion. And you make your way back out onto the bridge of your ship. Pardon me. Tangle IV. The Class M world fills the lower half of your view screen. It's about the size of Earth, and the planet is a frozen wasteland you can see even from space. Thick sheets of ice cover the large continents and the swathes of what would have been oceans. When you magnify the view screen, this reveals the barely visible ruins of a lost civilization. The shards of once towering cities protrude from the ice. A world that shows a whole people gone forever. You know you need to check in with the outpost and let them know that you have arrived in the area before making arrangements to land. Over to you, Captain M. Greenmont. What do you wish to do?
I would like to hand over coordination and logistics to our security officer, Commander Corrid. We need to ensure appropriate protocol is followed as we take this mission.
I would be happy to, Captain, but I would like to once again raise the objection of, as I see you have established that all the senior crew is going to be going, this would leave the ship in a very compromised position, so I would like to make my protest clear once more.
But you know, Captain Greenmont, that this is a simple resupply mission and recovery of some data. You feel happy to send your senior crew, I'd imagine, because you're not expecting anything out of the ordinary here.
It is a peaceful planet, Commander, but your opinion has been noted in the logs. And while we are noting opinions, I would like to let the Federation know that RPG Webby has donated more threat for Virginia. So V, if you would like to make a note of that. And a critical success, which is an auto success from Popewell Build, goes to Commander Efrix.
So, who is going to try and make some contact with this outpost so you can find out how you're supposed to get down there?
Commander Cord will go over to the communications to relay with their head of security. Tangle IV, come in.
Okay, make me a control plus engineering task. It's difficulty 0, it's just to see how well you do, and your ship is going to assist, who I'm going to roll for.
So that's 11.
And engineering.
Okay, I got 1 success.
1 success. That is 1 point of momentum for you guys because it was difficulty 0. So just remember that you do have that. So you open the channel down to the outpost. You put the call through. There's no answer. Nobody comes back on the other end. You try a couple of times. You switch frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Well, he raises from the control panel, looking at it again. Intriguing. Captain, there is no contact with the station below. It seems that this very simple supply run has taken a turn, and we haven't even left the ship. And he kind of looks over at Lieutenant Commander Miko at that.
One of the other officers on the bridge keeps trying this relaying message. Nothing comes back. There could be something interfering with your signal. There could be something jamming it. But at this moment, you can't contact the outpost.
Should we do a sensor sweep, Captain?
I think that would be an excellent course of action. It's curious that the outpost is not responding.
Who is
Has
making
there
this?
been any sort of distress signals from this outpost? Any hint there may be a problem?
You haven't received anything. They only put updates out every 6 months or so. That's how often they're resupplied. But there's been nothing distressful. The last message you got was obviously they needed resupplying and that they'd found this seed vault in the area that they were going through.
Commander Mum, please be on standby. Specialist Sparrow, could you please enhance our sensors? Let's see if we can find anything on the scanners. Corrid, let me know if we get a call back.
Affirmative,
Captain, do we have any life signs down below?
I will report back to you. Sparrow?
So, Sparrow, if you can make me, it's going to be, you add your reason to your science, and that's your target number, and then you want to roll 2 d20s, and you're looking for equal to or under that target number. This is also difficulty 0.
Okay, reason plus science. Okay.
Yep.
So.
And the ship will also assist, which I will roll for now.
Oh no, I've just added far too many d20s. Hang on. Right click. There we go. So that is
Any of those?
1 success,
One
failure.
success, 1 failure. Okay, it's not a 20 though, so you're okay. Nearly, but not quite. And sensors and science. Let's have a look. Okay, so that's 2 successes because the ship gives you 1 from assisting. So that's another 2 points of momentum. So you have 3. You might need those in a minute. You do a wide sensor sweep of the area and then of the outpost. There's no spatial phenomena interfering with your communications, no other vessels in the vicinity, and no evidence of signal jamming that you can find. There are no signs of intelligent life on the rest of the surface of the planet, which you already knew. But there is no sign of life on the outpost either. There's also no power readings coming from it. So what you can do with momentum now, if you guys want to, is you can spend some of that momentum to ask a question or to get some more information about what you're seeing.
Is there sign of a launch, perhaps an emergency craft or something of that matter? Evidence that people would have left?
You would be able to pick that up in terms of like a warp signature or debris in the area. So having seen that there are no vessels in the vicinity, like escape pods, there's also no signature of a vessel having left here recently. So I won't charge you any momentum from that. You can get that from what you've already found out. But if you want to find out more perhaps about the outpost with what you're seeing on your scans, you can spend some momentum.
Are there any signs that the outpost was attacked in some way?
Yeah. Any signs of damage?
You scan it. No signs of damage as such, at least not from what you can tell up here, but it is minus 52 degrees internal temperature in there, which is far colder than it should be, even for the researchers who are working here. Your sensors also detect a second massive structure beneath the outpost, where you are picking up a very faint power signature.
Well, we don't know how big the seed vault is that they found, so would stop short of saying it's safe to assume that that could be part of this structure.
Quite possibly. You can see the outpost itself is typical Federation kind of modular outpost. The schematics that you have, though, don't match what you're seeing, and you imagine that this extra kind of module that you're looking at is what was constructed about 5 months back, 6 months back, when the seed vault was discovered. So they have clearly begun work and have been entering in and out of there since that update, but you're not picking up any life signs as such in that the actual outpost itself. There is still no response, Captain Greenmont, from the outpost.
Let's escalate our timeline. Cold kills faster than heat. Prepare the spacesuits and anything else we might need. Commander Efrix, you know better than I do what medical conditions might occur under such intense cold. Let us hope the seed vaults are purely masking the life science of those scientists.
I'd like to remind everyone to put on their sweater, make sure they're buttoned up, your scarf and your mittens. And before going down, she's going to load into her tricorder from the database on the ship's computer any information in the about what has been in those reports from the outpost.
Yeah.
Through the last one. So any findings, any schematics, any comments?
So you have schematics of the outpost itself. You don't have any schematics of the seed vault because it had only just been discovered when that last update was sent out. You know that nobody there seemed to be suffering any severe health conditions. There were occasionally some stuff with people getting too cold, but that was generally to exposure while excavating and researching. But nothing serious. As far as you can tell, everything was fine. But as you've arrived, clearly something is the matter. Pardon me, I'm so sorry. Captain Greenmont, you order your crew as an away party to go down and investigate. And you all are given cold weather gear, which you suit up in. It's quite comfortable, it's quite warm, but it's a little bit bulky and hard to move around in. But you do eventually make your way to the transporter pad, and you are transported down. You materialize in the outpost transporter and storage module. You exit this. It's not quite into a corridor, but it's kind of like an open room that hasn't got any kind of sealed doors. The corridor ahead of you is deserted, and there are sealed doors on either end. A thin layer of frost covers everything in sight. Motes of dust float through beams of light from the handheld kind of beacons that you have, as there was no power down here. Through small round windows that glimpse the outside world, you can see the frozen remains of wind turbines that have been recently excavated out of the ice. There are no signs of life outside, and none that you can see here. It almost feels, with how quiet and dark it is, that the entire team has just vanished into thin air. You know that there are 7 modules to this outpost. There is the control module, hydroponics, the habitat living area, a multi-purpose laboratory, the newly constructed seed vault module, an infirmary, and the reactor. And they're all connected by corridor umbilicals. Each one will have an emergency hand actuator, as the power is currently off, which will probably have to be restored at the reactor if you wanted to get that up and running.
Captain, with your permission, I'd like to check out the laboratory first and then the infirmary. Might give us a clue as to what's going on, what they were working on.
Let us split into teams then. I believe the reactor should also be a priority. We need to restore power and heat to this facility. Lieutenant Commander Miko, why don't you accompany Commander Efrix? Corrid, Sparrow, I'll accompany you in the direction of the reactor.
Aye, Captain.
Captain.
Okay, so...
You should set your communicators to emergency channel 3.
And you do so.
And Black Cats Gaming has donated an auto success to Specialist Flip Sparrow on his first outing here on Encounter Roleplay. So Jay, anytime you come to a roll and you want to just auto succeed, just let Virginia know.
I think I'm gonna need it.
So, can I very quickly ask, who is going where? Who is going with the captain to the reactor? That is Flip Sparrow and Efrix?
And Corrid.
And Corrid.
I'm going. Yeah.
You're going. Who is going with... Efrix is going to the laboratory with Miko. Okay.
Yes, I'm going with Dr. Mum to the lab.
You both have to come through into the into what is the control module to get off of that, because this is kind of a corridor umbilical. You pull the hand actuator and it's stiff because it's slightly frozen over, but you manage it. And this takes you into the control module. The center of this facility, you can see this is kind of the main computer systems. It's the main kind of hub of this area, and stuff leads off of it. There is a panel to the wall on the left, which looks like it's been blasted open with a phaser. It looks like there is a mechanism meant to crank open this other set of doors, but that mechanism is broken. Also leading off of here, you have access to hydroponics, which you can see they're all quite clearly kind of signposted, and the multi-purpose laboratory as well as the habitat. So Commander Miko and Commander Efrix, you make your way through to the multi-purpose laboratory.
I'd like to use the tricorder to scan for any sign of biological life forms, not just humanoid. But
okay.
If we're dealing with plants, any type of life forms, there are things that can survive and do thrive in these temperatures.
Make me a reason science test, please. It's going to be difficulty 1, so you just need 1 success.
Right. Looking up my numbers here. Okay. So the number I'm trying to beat is 14.
Yeah.
2 successes, actually.
2 successes. You get a point of momentum back, so you've got 3 momentum in the pool at the moment. You do a scan as you come through. You're not picking anything up here. You imagine that with the power out and the temperatures, any of the fresh fruit and vegetables that would have been in hydroponics are dead. And you're not getting anything from the laboratories. And when you and Commander Miko get in there, you can see it's very much set up as a laboratory built for archaeological findings. There's lots of bits of building, small other artifacts that look like they're in various stages of being analysed. And there is what you would imagine would be computers holding reports on the climatology studies of the planet. But with the power out, you can't access any of them.
And no bodies?
No bodies in here, no. But there could be some interesting reports once the power's been restored.
What do you imagine they were studying here, Doctor?
Well, it looks like the ruins of the civilization that is now buried under all the ice. I
see that.
wonder what they found. I'd like to just kind of... Ifrix has a secondary background in science and xenobiology type things, and would like to start looking at whatever samples they were set out while they were studying to see what she can glean from that. Until the power is restored, we can actually get into the computers.
Okay, you have a look over, and I won't make you roll for this with having a background in it. It looks to be that they've been studying fragments of building, some small technologies that they found. It vaguely reminds you of quite Earth-like technology. Not quite as advanced as what you have, what Earth would have now, but maybe Earth a good few hundred years ago advanced. There's definitely similarities in that, but again, without looking at any of the climatology or archaeological reports, you're not 100% sure what it is that you're viewing. You don't have a context for it. But you can continue kind of looking over stuff as you hope that someone will be able to get the reactor up and running. So we'll switch over to Flip Sparrow, Greenmont, and Corrid, who you've all gone to have a look at the reactor, is that right?
Mhm.
Okay.
On the way, if there was anything, any kind of mechanical or electrical thing that Flip would have passed, he would want to just give it a quick scan to see if like power is just out, or if it's been taken out, or if he can detect anything as to why the power is out before they get there.
Okay, you can do that. So as you come into control, this module, although it leads off to the hydroponics and the habitats, it does have that other door, and that's the one that looks like it's been blasted with phaser fire. You can see it's kind of partly ajar, and you can go up to the control panel, and you can see that the mechanism that's meant to, those hand actuators, has been broken, and that there is no power to this door. But you wouldn't be able to tell quite from here what's caused the power outage. These outposts generally have a backup, have like backup batteries as well. So you would expect those to be running. So your best guess would be that something has happened to the power, but something has also happened to the backup batteries that would be here.
Okay. Would I be able... Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, would I be able to analyze the damage and see if I could pick up any kind of weapon signature?
Yeah, you can give it a go. This would be, let me have a look. I'm going to say this would be reason and security then, if you're trying to figure out what's caused this.
Yeah. I don't know if this is where a focus might apply.
What focuses have you got?
I have a focus of weapon systems.
Oh yeah, I'll let that apply.
Yay! And of course, now I've forgotten. Reason plus security. Okay.
Reason plus security.
13.
So if any of the dice roll equal to or under your security discipline with that focus, you get 2 successes instead of 1. So it's going to be a difficulty 1.
Okay. They're both under what I needed.
Okay, any of them under the discipline? So any of them under your security discipline?
No.
No. Okay, so it's just 2 successes, but that is another point of momentum, so you now have 4 points of momentum in the pool. You have a look. This is definitely phaser fire. Looking at the kind of the amount of damage that's been done and some of the other debris, you hazard that this is from a Federation or Federation-like phaser, most likely belonging to one of the outpost personnel, who would all have been given phasers purely as a precaution, but also because of their multi-purpose use in terms of being able to cut through things and stuff like that. It looks like somebody has taken a shot at these doors, which are now kind of, you can probably fit like 2 hands in, but it's through here that you need to get to. This is like a second pod of the control module that would then take you through into the reactor. So you have got to get these doors open somehow.
Virginia, would we be able to tell, like, just kind of eyeballing it, what setting the phasers were on? Were they on stun or were they on kill?
This would have been probably somewhere between the two. You don't want to set a phaser all the way up to try and blast a door open, but it looks like somebody took a pretty hefty blow at this. You can see from the kind of the spread and the burn patterns across the metal.
Okay. Cord will also just go up and see if he can, using his enhanced Vulcan strength, even though it doesn't really reflect it in the stats, he's going to try to see if he can wrench it open. Okay,
so you come up beside Flip Sparrow. Make me a fitness and security task, please. Difficulty 2. And if you've got any focuses that help here?
Would Flip be able to assist? Does it work like that?
You can assist. So you'll also be assisting with, I guess, fitness and security, unless you're trying to do something other than kind of just pull the doors open.
And you'll just meat and bones it.
Okay, so it's just 1d20 that you're rolling then, Flip, when you assist.
Okay.
So that 4 is under my... Just pick up the d20 and drop it.
Cool.
So the 4 is counts as 2 successes for me. My security spot.
Only if you've got a focus that applies. Yeah, it's only if you've got a focus if it's under the discipline. However, that is 2 successes between you.
I do have composure as a focus, and this is pretty stressful, but that's pushing it.
Yeah, not in this sense, but you've got enough. You've got 2 successes between the two of you, so you kind of start pulling on one side and it moves. Flip Sparrow, you grab the other, and you pull this door open. And Captain Greenmont, what are you doing at this point? Are you just kind of standing back, letting them get this door open?
Pretty much. She's trusting in their expertise and both safety and engineering to be able to figure out how to open a door. Although we do know that doors are the worst of enemies to all adventuring parties. And she's just kind of keeping eyes and ears open. There's something very eerie about this place.
It's very quiet. It's very quiet, very cold as well. Even through your cold weather gear, you've got that slightly numb feeling in the tips of your fingers. Corid and Flip Sparrow, as you pull this door open, you are met with a horrifying sight. The frozen body of an archaeologist that you recognize from Greenmont's briefing as Yannick Stoltz. He sits at a computer terminal, and there is a thick power cable coiled around his neck, and you can see his arms, which are stiff from the frost, reaching at these cables, almost in a desperate bid to save himself. The expression on his face is a look of twisted horror, capturing a last agonizing moment. On the back of his head, there's a small shaved patch of hair where you can see what looks like a recently treated wound, suggesting that he might have been recently treated with a head injury. But there he sits frozen in his chair, clawing at the cables at his neck.
Well, I think
Captain?
that the commander should be informed of this. Commander Efrix, we should let you know that we have found Stoltz, the leader. He apparently had a recent head injury. He has been choked to death and frozen. I felt that you should know this. Corid out.
And Captain, you hear this as Corid sends this through to Efrix. You can't quite see into this room just yet. You're kind of standing around some of the computer consoles, keeping an eye out and having a look around for anything else, when you hear Corid give this transmission and Flip Sparrow turns to you.
Captain, you probably want to come and see this.
All right. And she steps into the room and takes a wide, sweeping glance, but stops sharply at the sight of the archaeologist, and then looks between Sparrow and Corid as if expecting an explanation.
Commander Ifrix and Commander Miko, you've just had this come through from Commander Korid that the body of Yannick Stoltz has been found strangled and frozen just off of the control module. You're still having a look through here. You found a few more artifacts and a few other reports, but they mostly reference stuff that's stored on the computers.
As the reports of someone being strangled to death comes in, Miko's ears like almost flatten back and her fur kind of just puffs a little bit. And there's this slight ripping sound as like claws come through the edge of her gloves. I don't like this, Commander.
Neither do I, but in this temperature, he's well preserved. The body will wait. Let us go check the infirmary. Perhaps there's more clues there.
It's not really a body that's upsetting me, Commander. It is more... the infirmary, shall we go?
So the infirmary is through this section. So as you come out of the control module through where your captain is, you go into the reactor and then off towards the infirmary and the seed vault module. So you do make your way there and you find the captain, Korid, and Flip Sparrow still standing around the entrance to this kind of second control module pod, through which you have to pass to get to the rest of this outpost. And you both see the same sight that shocked the three of them. Yannick Stoltz clawing at the cables wrapped around his neck.
Captain, do we know how large the team down here was?
You do. 5 scientists, the medical doctor, the engineer, and Yannick Stoltz.
7.
So then we have 6 more that are still missing. I'm going to go to the infirmary to see if I can find out any more information about what happened here.
It's worth noting, Commander Ifrix, that there is a head wound to Stoltz's body, which you would notice as you go through. But you can continue on if you like.
She'll pause and examine the head wound.
Okay, make me an insight medicine test, the difficulty 1, please.
And Captain, I must once again, I must say that splitting up, now that we know that there is some sort of threat here, might want to reconsider that.
For once, I actually find myself agreeing with the Vulcan captain. We should perhaps stay together, seeing as there may be a murderer on the loose.
Noted.
That's a 1 and a 6 with 16 was the target number.
Nice. Okay, so that's 2 successes on the 1 and a 3rd with 6. So your momentum pool is now full at 6 points. So don't forget, you can spend that if you want to buy extra dice to roll or ask questions.
Had a donation from Matt that says, "Human specialist must live." So congratulations, Sparrow. I believe that will be a boon. I'll let Virginia decide something appropriate for that.
Ooh, okay. That will probably definitely come up later. But Ifrix, you scan this with your medical tricorder. Stoltz didn't suffer an injury. At first you thought it might have been an impact wound that's been stitched, but it actually looks like, having a little bit of a poke around with the surgical kit that you have, that something was implanted into the brain and then removed. But without seeing the device itself, it's impossible to tell what function it could have served. But actually kind of cutting open that stitching, you can see the impression where something was in there that is no longer there.
Can I use the medical scanner that I have to scan? It has a specific setting that will allow me to scan the organ to see what, how the brain might have, if the brain was altered, if part of the brain was removed, that type of thing.
Sure. You have a scan, and I'm gonna say this will cost you a point of momentum because it's effectively kind of finding out some more information.
Okay.
It doesn't look like the brain was altered in a sense, aside from it had something kind of implanted here. But there are oddities to the actual the brain itself as you start scanning, and you can't really work out what it is, though. The device, you imagine, is what would tell you what's going on. But with the cold and not having all of the equipment here to do what you need to do, you couldn't work it out just from this. But like you said earlier, the body is frozen. It's not going anywhere.
Commander, can you tell how old that wound is, at least?
With the temperature and the state of preservation, would that allow me to know that, or would the freezing prevent? Because there would be no decay or anything like that.
If you want to spend a point of momentum, I can tell you.
All right.
Yeah?
Let's do that, yeah.
It looks like that Stoltz has not been dead more than about 3 days.
From what I can tell, Commander Cord, he's only been dead about 3 days. This wound was not the killing blow. What it was a device that had been placed into his head and then removed. It seems to have altered his brain in some way, but I cannot tell more than that at this time. I would have to take him up to sickbay.
Well, Commander, we sensed no life signs on this planet, but I am hoping that there is still someone out there, and if they are out there, we should find them quickly. It's cold and dangerous. And she's like eyeing that body. Virginia, with the wraparound of that cord, does it look like it's something that you can kind of set a computer to do, or is this like someone has physically wrapped the cord around and pulled it?
It's really hard to tell. It looks like somebody else would have done it, since he's clawing at his neck.
Mm-hmm.
But then who that could have been, and without having the computers on.
Right, it's not like a mechanized arm or anything for scientific inspection. It's just like a literal cord. Okay.
Yeah. It looks like it's just been ripped from like the internals of a nearby console and wrapped.
Alright, got you. Sparrow, we should hurry and restore power as well. Perhaps there is something on the computers that can explain what is going on here.
Oh, with your permission,
Commander,
Captain, I'd like to continue.
Sorry, after you, Commander. Mum.
No, go ahead, Specialist.
Just gonna say yes, Captain. I'll make my way down to the reactor. Look out for any dodgy cables on the way.
Corid, Miko, one of you go with the Specialist. I understand your reservations in splitting up. However, this is a large facility and we have a number of things that must be done.
I will go with the Specialist, if you wouldn't mind staying with the Commander and Lieutenant Commander.
Agreed.
With your permission, Captain, I would like to continue to the infirmary. I believe that I may be able to find out more.
Alright, we shall scout towards the infirmary, but we shall check rooms for signs of life on the way. The infirmary will be little good to us without power. I'm more interested in the life that could be on this planet.
So, Corid and Flip Sparrow, you start making your way towards the reactor as you step past Yannick's frozen body and make your way down the right hand of the corridor. Commander Miko, Captain Greenmont, and Commander Ifrix, you turn left, making your way up the other side. Up ahead of you, you can see a large sealed door where it looks like the actuator panel has been severely damaged. This looks to be the way into the seed vault that was found and the rest of the complex that was discovered to be under this outpost in your scans. There's a trail of blood that appears to come from the door and works its way across the floor in towards the infirmary where you are heading, which, as you're looking down this corridor now, is just off to the left as this door is in front of you.
The second Miko sees that, she starts very quietly hissing.
You start to make your way towards the infirmary carefully. And as you look round the doors, which are jammed open, the infirmary is quite small and it's in disarray. There is medicine and equipment, there are hypo sprays scattered all across the floor. And there, gripping on to the edge of a biobed, is the frozen body of what looks to be, by his uniform, the outpost's engineer. There's a huge dark red stain across the front of his tunic, and it looks like he was trying to hoist himself up onto this biobed, and the other arm he has is clutching a hypo spray.
First thing Efrix is going to do is go look at the hypo spray to see what was being dosed.
Okay, you pull it out of the grip, and there's a kind of snap as the frost, you manage to release it. The hypo spray looks like it was never administered. Either he was too weak or something else prevented him from doing it, but it looks like it was a mixture of pain relief, but also antiseptic.
And then I'd like to inspect the wound on his chest.
It's going to be an insight medicine task, please. Difficulty 1. Miko and Greenmont, what are you both doing as you're in this room?
At this point, Miko is flipping out because this is now the second, and she said, "This is the second body we have seen, and you are just walking into rooms. Can we please, before we just walk into rooms, check them for something? Something is clearly or has clearly attacked these people." This man's
Commander
chest is
Miko.
ripped open.
I trust your personal scanner is functioning. Be sure to scan before we enter any rooms in the future. And then she opens her own communications device and pages Corrid and updates Corrid. We have an additional body in the infirmary.
Captain, with all due respect, it may not show on scanners. Whatever is killing or has
Then
killed
tell
these-
me, Miko, how do you intend for us to look inside a room if we do not open the door and look?
With caution, Captain. With caution. We don't open doors and walk straight in like our lovely dear doctor just did. No.
Commander Efrix, please update your protocol when entering a room.
All right,
Well, I
Captain.
asked.
I can have another in-service next month, Captain, if you would like, for corridor-to-corridor movement in unknown situations.
I
See?
apologize, Commander Corrid. I did not realize I left my communications device open. She hangs up.
How many
Miko
successes
just
is
brings cards.
That protocol is next week.
Miko flips hers to Corrid. Thank you, Corrid. It's like talking to a brick wall. What the shit?
That it is.
So, how many successes is that, Commander Efrix?
That is 2 successes.
2
14
successes.
I would like to
survived.
remind Lieutenant Commander Miko and Commander Corrid that insurrection is a brig jailable offense.
And who are you going to get to put us in the brig? Huh?
Oh, I find cats
Where-
always find the way into the box.
Mom will just
I
take you
am
both by the
writing
ears and drag you in.
Stop command about xenophobia and
Is there more
Flip is
hissing
listening
and
to this,
tail
just rolling
flicking?
his eyes at everything.
So, Ifrix, you have a look at the body. This officer suffered severe abdominal wounds. There are multiple lead fragments inside the abdominal cavity. The cause of death? Sepsis. And at that revelation, as you argue about who should go into rooms, and I imagine Commander Miko hissing a little bit, we're going to have a look at Flip Sparrow and Corrid. When you got that communication, you were just kind of getting the doors open with the actuator, again, frozen over here. But between the two of you, managed to get it in. As you step into this reactor room, there is a main reactor in the center. And across kind of half of the room, there is some computer consoles. And then there are some backup batteries here. Scorch marks and holes cover the computer consoles on the far wall. conduit snake across the ceiling from the terminals to the fusion reactor in the center. The reactor itself is completely intact from a visual inspection, but looks like it's powered down. You imagine because of the computer failures here, the fail-safe mechanism is activated, and that's why this reactor hasn't gone critical. The emergency batteries, used as a backup power supply, have been destroyed, however. Again, they are riddled with the same scorch marks and holes as the computer systems. Restoring power here is not going to be easy, and you will have to ask to beam down two 203R control modules in order to rewire everything, which will have an opportunity cost, so it'll have a momentum cost of 2 if you wish to do that.
So I think Flip will come in and obviously look around this room, and I guess he would pretty quickly establish that he needs these 203R control modules, having seen how smashed it all is. Commander Corrid, if we want this reactor back up and running, I'm going to need some get down here.
Yes. Do what you will. And Corrid, like, you could tell Corrid is like barely listening to the specialist as he's looking at all these phaser fire, because I'm trying to determine if this was all coming from one direction. Okay. Can I try to determine what it is?
You can. So as Flip Sparrow calls up to the ship asking for these control modules, you have a look round. It's going to be reason and security.
Okay.
Difficulty 1.
Reason and security. So I'm looking for a 15 or below, and I got that and double success on the 3, so it's 3 successes.
Cool. Have you got a focus that applies to this test then?
Oh, hand phasers? At least determining that they're not hand phasers?
Yeah, I'll let that apply. So that's 2 successes or 3 in total?
That would be 3 in total, since
3 in total. Okay, so your momentum pulls back to full again. This, having a look round, and you start picking up fragments, and at first you think it's some of the metal that's kind of splintered off, but then you realize these are lead fragments, the kind that you would get on traditional Earth-like firearms of 20th century Earth. There are a few phaser scorch marks, but they're not the predominant issue here. It looks like something has been...
They look like they're firing at each other, though.
The phaser marks look like they're firing towards the back of this room. But there's only 1 or 2. The rest of the marks look like they were fired from the other end of the room, sprayed out across the room. But what you would assume would be traditional gunfire.
I'm going to go have my phaser set to stun, on the higher side of stun. But I'm going to move to the back of the room where it looks like the projectile fire was coming from, to see if there's a corridor or some other place leading off of here, from here, that can be seen.
So as you're having a look round at this and start to make your way there, Flip Sparrow, you get the control modules beamed down, nice directly next to you, and you can begin to, if you wish, disconnect the damage control consoles here and wire in the new ones.
Yeah, Flip will do that straight away.
Okay.
I guess, is any of the technology that I'm dealing with here foreign at all in terms of, like, from Starfleet, because this is an outpost and it's been here a while? Have they, like, had to jerry-rig anything, or is this all pretty standard?
It's pretty standard Starfleet Federation issue equipment. The first thing you're going to have to do is disconnect the damage control modules. So this is going to be what's called a linear challenge. So you have to complete some certain tasks in a particular order. So this is going to be control and engineering, and it's difficulty 2.
Okay.
This is to disconnect the damage control consoles. It's difficult because you're in this cold weather gear. Everything's a bit frozen over, and you're trying not to damage anything more than it already has been.
Okay. So that's so 2 d20s.
2 d20s, unless you want to buy some more dice with momentum. So you've got 6 momentum at the moment.
And I do have the 1d20 I was gifted as well, don't I? Or a straight success.
That's
an
an auto
auto
success.
Yeah.
You got 6 momentum,
control
dude.
plus
Use it.
engineering. Yeah, I'll use a momentum.
How many extra dice would you like?
Just
You can have up to
one.
3. Just one, so it's only 1
Yeah.
momentum, so that takes you guys down to 5.
I also have one of my focuses is power supply systems.
Yeah, that'll apply here. So if any of the dice roll equal to or under your engineering discipline, it'll count as 2 successes.
Cool. So control plus engineering. I'm looking for 14 on 3d20s.
Yeah.
So that is 1 success, 1 failure, and then a double success on the 4.
So 3 in total. So you actually get that momentum you spent back. And you do manage this. You start disconnecting the damaged control panels, kind of dusting the frost off them so you don't snap anything. And this is going to give you an advantage on the next task, which is installing the replacements. But as you disconnect the last one, Commander Courage, you go round to the back, to the other corridor umbilical that leads off of here. And in front of you, there is a small, what looks to be tracked military robot coming down the corridor towards you. Looks very similar to 21st century Earth autonomous drones. It's about just over 1 meter tall and tank-like in appearance. There is a 360-degree camera perched across the top of the machine, which is kind of scanning. A crackly computerized voice repeats the same word at you as it's coming up the corridor as soon as it's kind of that camera fixes on you. Intruder. Intruder. It doesn't appear to be doing anything quite yet. But
okay.
it's
Cord
rolling towards you.
Yeah, I will quickly pop on one side of the little tunnel.
Yeah.
Pop out the communicator. Captain, I've come across some kind of drone, some kind of ancient military vehicle. I don't know. It is coming down here. It appears to have killed some of the crew. There are projectile weapons mark scoring all over the engineering, and I believe this is what caused it.
Do you believe you can safely detain or stop the machinery? Disable, that's what I was looking for. Disable the machinery.
Well, it does appear to have a camera on top. If I would assume if you were to blind that, at least it would not be able to target anyone. But I just want you to be on the lookout for that, and possibly you might want to make your way here.
Thank you, Commander Corrid. Proceed with caution. Please attempt to disable or contain the device.
Affirmative, Captain. Cord out.
Okay.
And Cord is going to set his phaser to kill.
Okay. That's going to give me some threat. But you set it to kill, and the security drone is still rolling up towards you. It's the voice on it, and even like the kind of tracks are a little bit sticky, you imagine, kind of from the frost, as it just keeps saying intruder, and occasionally it kind of it crackles and breaks.
And it is very cold here, right?
It is.
So I'm going to pop out really quick, and I'm going to fire about 5 feet in front of it and try to fire at the ice on the ground, hoping to melt it, so when it rolls through, it will refreeze and keep it locked in place, is what I'm basically trying to attempt.
Okay. Make me then... I'm going to count this as an attack roll.
Okay.
I'm going to make it difficulty 1, though. Normally, ranged attacks are difficulty 2, but you're not really aiming at that. You're aiming at a kind of wide area. So go ahead and make me that control security test.
Control and security, and so it's going to be 15, and I'm using a hand phaser, so that's a focus.
That is
15 with a crit range of 5.
Oh, that's a nice 20 there, Pruitt.
Wait, can I use a momentum to re-roll that, right? Is that a thing?
You can't use momentum to re-roll.
Can you give you threat to re-roll?
No, you can spend... let me have a look. You can spend determination. So everybody starts with 1. This is what your values are for. So if you have a value that you think would be appropriate to what you're trying to do, and you can convince me that it is, I might let you.
Okay, the needs of many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. So I'm going to, where I plan to just pop out and do a quick fire. Obviously I missed. The darkness is messing with my depth perception. I'm going to continue to hang out in the corridor and make sure that I hit the right mark, even if it means that I am out from cover. How about that?
Okay, is that in like trying to protect Flip Sparrow, who's working on the reactors, and?
Well, you're trying to try to keep this thing away so it can't shoot at us is even if it means just taking a shot at me, or having to receive you get what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Reroll. You can reroll both of those dice, or just one of them. It's up to you. And just mark off that you've spent a point of determination, and you don't have any more left at the moment.
I have no more determination left. Now, on the reroll, can I use momentum, or is that already passed?
You can't use momentum on the reroll.
All right. Well, then I'm just going to reroll the 20 because that's already 1 success.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay though. You got the 1 success you needed, and you managed to heat up the floor. And as the drone kind of rolls over it, the coldness of the air, it kind of freezes up in the tracks. It's not going to keep it there forever, but it's kind of that sticking point, like when you lick an ice lolly, your tongue sticks to it. It's kind of like that. And you can see this drone, and Flip Sparrow, you can hear it now too, as it's just repeating in this broken, twisted electronic voice, intruder. And we are going to go into initiative now, because this is like combat. And I am going to spend the threat so I can take the first action here. I do apologize. Somebody is letting off fireworks outside. So if there's a bit of background noise, I apologize. But it's going to try and take... it's going to try and take a shot at you as you watch as a little red laser sight appears on the front of your tunic, Corid. And you hear what sounds to be a round drop into a chamber somewhere. So it's going to be control and security. Let's see. And I'm not going to spend any threat on this one. That is only 1 success, which isn't enough. You hear it pepper out a few rounds of what sounds like machine gun fire. But you manage to just duck out of the way just enough, but it's very loud. Flip Sparrow, you hear this too. Suddenly this barrage of shots being fired, and you may never have heard gunfire like this in real life, having these kind of projectile weapons no longer being used in the Federation, but you might have heard it in films or in documentaries, and it is loud. It is ringing in here.
My sensitive Vulcan ears.
It is now up to you guys which one of you wants to go next, either Flip Sparrow or Corid. You will both get a turn.
And also, since I have quick to action in the first round, we ignore the cost to retain initiative, if that matters. So
probably won't do too much here, but Flip Sparrow, you can take your turn now and continue kind of working away to get this reactor up, or Corid, you can take the turn. It's up to you.
I suppose I also have the option of I could just stop, because I can't see where Corid's gone, can I? Because it was like out the back of the room and to just slightly
He hasn't
down
kind of
corridor.
left the room. You can still see him. The reactor breaks up the view a little bit, but you can kind of see where he is.
Okay.
I tell you what, I'll take the initiative here, because maybe I can disable this thing. And if not, hopefully, maybe you can come support me. But if not, you can keep working. Is what is my thinking for that.
Yeah. Good.
So yeah, I'm gonna try to take a shot. You said that there's kind of it's probably an obvious kind of dome camera on top of its head, being such ancient technology. So yeah, I would know that take out the eyes and at least it will only fire blindly, which What could hurt? We're only standing next to a reactor. And
so what you can do is you get one major action, one minor action, And because you've got a phaser, you can spend one of your minor actions either to aim, or you can use the prepare minor action, and that gives you one of your damage effects on your phaser. So you can do things like piercing or vicious to do more damage, or ignore resistance.
Cord is cautious by nature, so I'm going to use my minor action for an aim to make sure I can try to pop that camera. And so yeah.
So that means you can re-roll a single d20 on this attack if you wish.
Okay.
So go ahead and make that. Control security, difficulty 2.
Control security, difficulty 2. I'm using a hand phaser, and I'm going to go ahead and buy 1 die of momentum. Since I do have a re-roll, we can probably get that back. So that's going to be 3 successes, and I can re-roll for free.
You can, so you can re-roll that 18.
I'm going to roll that 18. And yeah, so that's 4 successes, but it doesn't really matter.
Okay, so you've got all that momentum back, and you do get to hit. So on your character sheets, what is the damage for your phaser? It should be the little delta symbol with a number next to it.
That's an 8.
8. So you need to roll 8d6 for me.
Oh my. So here's 5.
Okay, so that is... So 1's a 1, 2's a 2, 3's and 4's are nothing, and 5 and 6's would be effects, but you haven't got any on your phaser right now. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice. So that's 8 points of stress that it takes. It does have a resistance. So let me just roll here. Yeah. But either way, that's enough to essentially cause an injury. And you take the shot out. It takes out the camera, and you can see somewhere inside something sparks, and the whole thing kind of just grinds to it. You can see the little tracks turning. It all just kind of grinds to a halt. And the little gun that's on the front just drops limp.
Okay. Threat neutralized. Continue your work, specialist.
Yes,
But Sparrow, you hear the sound of the phaser blast, this horrible kind of spark, this small, almost like explosion, and then silence before Corrid speaks. You look back down, and you're now beginning to install the replacements to this reactor. So this is going to be control engineering again, but because you succeeded on the last one, the difficulty is only going to be 1.
Okay. Does my focus apply again?
It does here, yeah.
Cool. Control plus engineering, so 14. So that's 2 successes. And a
2
failure.
successes. Okay. Your momentum pool's full, but you install the replacements, and you start working quicker at doing this. After seeing that drone, you've only got one last thing to do, but before we come back to that, Captain Greenmont, you heard this, what sounded like gunfire, and then Corrid saying the threat was neutralized. What are the 3 of you doing now? As you're in the infirmary, still having a look through records and checking out that body.
I just received a donation from Herm, which says, "This is for the cat box remark that was clipped on Twitter. Use it however." So I'm actually going to hand this over to Federation GM Virginia. You can give someone, I'm going to say a crit fail because it's more fun when we fail.
Okay.
So there's that for you to use at some point. Have fun with that. I imagine that Greenmont has signaled for Miko to move towards the door and cover it. Mm-hmm. And Greenmont's going to check there are no kind of other entrances, exits in this room. And then she'll page Corrid for a full update.
Okay,
Because
so
her phaser out, she's by the door, but she's also got her sensor in her tail because she has prehensile tail. So she's like got both, and she's like just looking at it to the door. She's on high alert.
You look, and you just catch it as you look round. There's that small little spark, an explosion from the droid. You can't see it. You can just see the kind of the sparks coming off before Corrid calls it in. Captain Greenmont, there are no other exits to the infirmary module here. There is just the seed vault doors, which are still currently locked and closed. But you can all start making your way into the reactor room if you wish. And Flip Sparrow, I need you to make me a daring engineering test, difficulty 2. There are some other severely damaged circuits in this room, and you just have to bypass those so you don't overload the reactor, and you should have it up and running.
Okay,
As
daring plus engineering.
everyone now begins to join, I assume.
Before going, Efrix would like to check the back of the engineer's head for a similar wound. This was found on Yannick's.
There is no wound on the back of his head. As you look, you kind of pull the body forward. Is that 2 successes there, Flip Sparrow?
That is 2 successes.
You just manage it. You know, clip the wires for the ones you need to bypass, and the next thing you know, all of you, as you make your way into this room, you hear the hum of the life support systems coming back on. As Miko, you probably feel this more than anyone as your fur begins to blow, as warm air begins circling through the vents over the course of the next minute or so. The lights in here flicker to life, taking a few moments before coming to their full brightness of kind of like daylight. And the computer consoles, you see kind of the screens go to that. It's that black where they're not quite off, but they're still kind of loading up. And suddenly they all flicker to life. Yannick Stoltz appears on every single monitor. Disheveled, sleep deprived, he's gripping the edges of the computer terminal. They're all dead. And he glances over his shoulder. What was that? The screen goes to static. And then this recording starts again. The comm panels hum, and indecipherable voices sound like they're whispering over the open channels. A hiss of air echoes down the corridor as the door to the seed vault module further down sounds like it opens. And you can see as the message replays, more is added on here. It snaps back to what looks like the start. Yannick Stoltz runs his hands through the mess of his hair and slams his fists on the console before gripping at it. It never stops. The voices. At first, we thought, no, not we. They thought it was a malfunction. Communication systems playing all the logs at once, but there's something else here buried in the ice. And he looks down and presses the console, slamming the computer again. Is anyone reading this? Anyone at all? Are all dead? What was that? And he glances over his shoulder, and the other part of the recording begins to play again. As over and over on every panel in this room, kind of out of sync as well, it's just this video playing and this horrible... Miko, you find this more disturbing than anyone having better hearing because of your Cation species. The indecipherable sounds of whispering over this open channel, like thousands of voices at once, just all overlapping with Yannick Stoltz's maddening kind of screaming and shouting at the console as this just plays over and over and over before it goes to static and starts again.
Can we turn that off? And then she's kind of like blocking up her ears. Make it stop.
Flip will see if he can do anything on the console to it, to like at least turn it down or off if you can.
Okay, so you want to do like a little bit of a diagnostic, see what it is you can do.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be control and engineering, and the outpost, now it is up and running, will assist, so I will roll for that.
Okay.
This is comms, communications, and engineering.
One success.
That's one success. The outpost gives you a second one. You run the diagnostic to see what you can do. It looks like the volume isn't a single computer, but every computer here is simultaneously broadcasting audio from every recorded log in the outpost at a low volume, but the layers upon layers of it is what makes it so deafening. You can't find any system malfunctions. It's not registering a system malfunction. It looks like there is remote access to this system from somewhere within the missile silo that's through that seed vault. That's what you saw in your scans on the ship. And if you want, you could try and isolate one of these logs.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'll check. Commander, Captain, it looks like this is every single log that's ever been recorded here. I think I might be able to filter it out if we want to listen to the most recent one.
Do what you can, Sparrow. And I imagine, like, it's like getting to Greenmont. She's like trying to resist the urge to cover her ears as she's looking from screen to screen to screen and over, seeing Yannick's face, just reporting they're dead. And in the back of her mind, she's remembering another report that was very similar.
Would you like to spend the momentum flip, Sparrow, to try and isolate just one of the voices, one of these logs that you can just grab?
Yeah, we've still got loads, haven't we? Yeah.
You've got 6 momentum at the moment. Okay.
You should buy 2 dice.
It's not a roll. It's just a momentum to isolate it. I'll just let you do it.
Oh, never mind.
You can't pick a particular log. You just try and filter out what you can, and you realise that the voice that you're hearing is not from an outpost audio log. It's a hysterical voice ranting. What about the bodies? Alive, 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 a lie. We are a lie. The bodies rot. As it just rants in hysterics over and over again, getting louder and louder in volume. To the point, Miko, this is probably now almost insufferable for you.
It's just starting to like ball up, like squishing her ears down.
It looks like that this is being played through the remote access in the silo, so you could try and cut off remote access here if you wish.
So we identify that's where the remote access is coming from, that there isn't anywhere else that it could be coming from?
No, it's somewhere from down there.
Yeah, I'll try and cut it off if we've got everything we can out of it.
Could reverse the polarity on the feed.
You want to cut it off?
Yes.
Okay. This is control and engineering, and the outpost will assist you, so let me roll for that. That is a fail from the outpost, and this is going to be difficulty 2. The complication range here is 2, so if you roll a 19, it's also a complication. And then this is also an opposed test. So
these don't happen to be quantum computers that I'm working on, do they?
Not in this room.
I do have a focus. No, darn. Okay.
So if you want to make your test for me, and then I'm gonna. This is an opposed test, so I roll against you.
So that
how many
is,
successes?
Control and engineering. 2 successes.
2 successes. Let's see if I do any better. That is also 2 successes, but you are the active character, and therefore you succeed.
Huzzah!
It's difficult. It's like whatever it is you're trying to cut off is fighting back against you. But you manage to eventually shut it off, and the comm panels go silent.
A question.
Yeah.
Are we in some type of sealed environmental type suits down here?
You're in cold weather suits. You haven't got environmentally sealed suits. You don't have EV suits.
Okay.
However, I am going to spend 2 threat, and you begin to hear some whispering again. Not nearly as loud as it was before. It's almost more insidious, as it's just like that kind of background hum.
The commander is scanning to see if there's been any change in the atmosphere in the environment since those doors opened. Are there,
sure.
are there spores, viruses, any type of anything that's changed?
Make me a, I'm going to say, science and insight test.
Okay. Now, will my xenobiology help with this as well?
Yeah, I'll let it apply here.
Okay. So science and insights. So that gives me 15. A 5 and a 15.
So 2 successes.
Yes.
There are atmospheric changes, most notably the fact it is slowly starting to warm up now you've got these systems back up and running, which is good. It's, you're starting to not feel numb at the tips of your fingers anymore. There is a slight change in the air pressure from the doors having opened, but you don't pick up any biological hazard in the air. You don't pick up any spores, nothing that would be concerning. All of the atmospheric changes that you're seeing appear to be what you would expect for the life support coming back on and the doors having opened. What you do here, though, is you're scanning this and you go back towards kind of the direction of the seed vault to try and capture as much of that as possible, is what sounds like a child crying. Just this soft, gentle sobbing that you can just about hear over the kind of the hissing on these comms, which eventually goes silent again. But it sounds like it's coming from the seed vault module.
I'd actually like to turn the scanner on myself to see if my senses have been altered in some way.
You appear to be perfectly normal. But Miko, you can, again, because of your hearing, you can hear this better than anybody. Where it's slightly faint for everyone else, you hear this clear as day. The sound of a child sobbing. And the echoing tells you that it's somewhere in that direction.
There were no children as a part of this team, no?
There are no life signs.
Then tell me, why do I hear a child crying?
I don't know, but I hear it as well. Very interesting. We all seem to be at baseline standards of health. This is quite unusual. Wonder what type of life form this might be. Shall we go look?
Well, if it is a child, we should.
Question: the tunnel that the rover was coming down, was that like something special, or was that part of the habitat itself?
It looks like that leads off to a small storage area where they've just been keeping engineering supplies and things like that. It doesn't lead anywhere else back into the habitat.
Interesting. Okay. Find it intriguing that is coming from there.
Commander, do you believe the primitive security system we disabled was responsible for all that we have seen so far?
Well, I believe that it was responsible for at least the gunfire that you can see in this room, and he kind of points out the scoring on the wall and everything. But other than that, it would be pure speculation, Captain. But it did come from there, so either it was waiting, or there is some connection between that storage shed and if this vault is as big as our scans indicate, perhaps there's an alternate way in.
And perhaps additional security.
Perhaps.
Miko, you can still hear this child sobbing.
Well, we really need to do something soon. This is... And she's clearly very, very agitated.
I'm going to use the Bane that Sam gifted. And I'm going to say, Miko, I will give you a point of determination if you allow this Bane to cause you to act immediately because you can hear this child crying.
Yeah, fuck it, why not? It's fun.
Okay, take the point of determination.
Take
What is it
point of
Miko does? As you're listening to this child cry while everyone is discussing what to do, and all you can hear is a child, a young child, sobbing.
So everybody's standing around, right? The doctor's like, quite intriguing. And the Vulcan's like, science. And Miko is just losing it at hearing this distressed child, and she just takes off in the direction.
And
Miko
the thing kind of calls out after her, but immediately takes to her own feet following her first officer.
And you are hot on Miko's heels. What are the rest of you doing as you see Lieutenant Commander Miko just bolt out of this room, like tail stuck in the air in action? Yeah,
Right,
the captain soon noticing that she should run out and following her. What are the three of you doing?
The doctor is following at the same time saying, a very effective ploy to grab the attention of humans. Any species, actually. They seem to need to rescue a child in distress, so quite effective. And is at the same time running and following.
So you're hot on your captain's heels. What about Corin and Flip Sparrow? What are you doing as the other three have rushed out of this room?
Cord withholds the want to set his phaser to the lowest stun and shoot Miko in the leg. And he just moves to the doorway, still covering the specialist because he doesn't want to leave him alone, but where he can still look down the hallway and see if the captain can catch up to Miko.
Captain Greenmont is making waves, but Miko, with her dexterous-like nature, has just bolted and slipped past everybody. Flip Sparrow, what are you doing?
I will want to go over to the sort of drone AI thing that Commander Corrid disabled, and I want to have a look at it, see if I can sort of understand any of its systems or how it works or any AI that might be involved in it, just kind of what it is, basically.
Make me a reason engineering test.
Reason and engineering, oh goody.
Difficulty 2.
Perhaps you can detect a remote frequency.
Well, that's my thought, Commander. Although, perhaps
Do you want to buy any dice?
I won't for this, because this is my stats for this are pretty good.
Okay, so it's difficulty 2.
Now you did it.
Yeah, now I've done it. Does this count? Would this machine count as a weapon system to get a focus buff, as it were?
Yes.
Okay. Right, so 2 20s. I forget now. Reason plus engineering, okay.
Yep.
So that is 3 successes plus...
3 successes.
What does the focus, adding the focus in again do?
So the focus means that any dice that roll equal to or under your discipline are 2 successes instead of 1.
Okay, yeah, so that's 3 successes.
Okay, so your momentum pool is full again. You have a look. There is no frequency to this. It looks to be similar to early 21st century Earth autonomous drones. It appears to work, you can tell by the computer systems, on a kind of primitive AI that's got a built-in voice system, which looks like it was damaged before Corrid shot at it, probably by the cold, hence the kind of weird raspy voice that it had. But otherwise, there's nothing else strange about this tech, other than the fact that it's clearly not Federation. This tech is clearly, 21st century Earth-like tech.
Okay. Could I pick up any weaknesses? Like gaps in its armor or its systems or...
That camera and the small section where obviously the front of the gun sits, there is a gap space there as well.
Okay.
Commander Miko, as you were the first to arrive outside the newly opened seed vault doors, you can hear Captain Greenmont calling out behind you, and the doctor slightly further back. Excavated from the ice, a wedge of concrete The steel door stands 7 meters high in front of you. Thick cables from a wall terminal snake through this open door into the sloping passageway. You can kind of see where they're connected up to the inside. The cables spark and hum as if electrified. Now the power is back on. And the child's sobs echo from somewhere deeper within the vault.
So she'll stand at like this doorway and she peers in for a moment, just trying to get her bearings and listen out for this child. And she says, "Hello, I'm with Starfleet. You're okay? I'm coming to help. I'll be right there." And she just runs straight in towards the sound of the crying child.
Captain Greenmont, you can hear the child, and so can you, Commander Ifrix, as you get closer up, and you can hear Miko shouting down this corridor, and you see the same thing. And Miko, as you run down, ice covers the walls of this circular tunnel. Rows of lights flicker above you, and you can see your breath in the air, because many of you would have kind of unzipped some of your cold weather suits as the temperature picked up in here. And you're just running. This passage slopes downwards for over 100 meters. The colder you go, the deeper you go, the colder it seems to get, and you find yourself pulling that cold weather suit back up again. When you reach the open door at the end of this sloped passage, the child's cries stop. As you enter here, you can see security cameras begin to follow your every move and static rumbles from the speakers in the ceiling. Commander Greenmont and Commander Ifrix, what do you do as you watch Miko dart off down this sloping passageway?
Greenmont is 100% right behind Miko. Now she can hear what Miko was hearing. She is also just proceeding as quickly as she can to locate what is very possibly a living child stranded down here.
Okay. By the time you make it down, moments after Miko, the child's cries have stopped, and you see the same thing, security cameras that then flicker to you and back to Miko. Commander Ifrix, what are you doing here?
Commander Ifrix is right on their heels, and I'd actually like to use one of my talents, Doctor's Orders, to coerce and coordinate others to refrain from taking a specific course of action.
Okay.
Which would allow me to use my medicine discipline instead of a command discipline to get the captain and the lieutenant commander to both halt, explaining to them again that the distress of a child is an instinctive response in all sentient life forms, and that is known and often used as a way of drawing others into traps or into danger. To please stop, don't move, be alert. There is no child. It is likely a recording.
Would like to resist this based on a couple of my values.
Okay, in which case
is we should always boldly go. There is a time for talk and a time for action, and family is forged in phase of fire.
Okay, in which case, what I will say is, Ifrix, you do have to follow them in to say this to them, because they've already darted up ahead. But when you get down to the bottom of the corridor, where they've paused for a moment, with Miko still listening for any other hint of this child, this is what we warn them of. So, Commander Ifrix, I'm not going to allow anyone to buy dice here, to keep it fair between everybody, because it's a shared momentum pool. So, Commander Ifrix, if you'd roll your test for me, please.
Okay.
This is going to be presence and medicine.
Okay. Can I also, with my focus, I have a focus in psychiatry, and I don't know how values will help with this, but values in my crew is my family, and everyone goes home. So I have these two values that would also add into it.
So normally anything that would buy dice or improve the roll in that sense, I don't normally allow when you're rolling against other players, just to keep it fair to everyone.
Okay.
The focus will apply. I'll let you have that, but not so much the value here.
Okay, so presence and medicine.
Yeah.
All right. I need 13.
So I'm going to say this is going to be It's going to be difficulty 2 for you to convince them. And Greenmont and Mika, it's going to be difficulty 1 for you to resist. But we'll see how this roll goes first and then roll against.
That is 1 success.
1 success. So I don't even need you guys to roll here. You try to convince them of this, but you know your captain, and you know Miko, and you can already tell they've listened to everything you've said and they've considered it, but they're steadfast in their action.
The commander is going to do something that she rarely does, and that is take out her phaser and be alert for a threat, ready to fire, and if need be, stun someone that's going into danger.
So, Captain and Commander, you both listen to Ifrix tell you, it's a very common thing. Luring people with the sound of a crying child is built into your instinct to go and run towards that. But neither of you seem to be bothered by this.
If something is luring us, I intend to find what that thing is. If there is even a chance something is alive down here, we should find out.
I agree, Captain.
We have scanned for all known life forms multiple times. There is nothing here.
All known life forms, Commander. There may be something unknown.
We were reminded in our briefing there could be alternate life forms here. Proceed with caution. There's my order.
Aye, Captain.
Corrid and Flip Sparrow, your captain, your lieutenant commander, and your medical officer have both disappeared into this seed vault, and you see them do this, Corrid. What are the both of you doing?
Specialist, if you're finished here, I think we should keep our command staff from doing something ill-advised.
I think I've pretty much got everything I can get out of this, Commander, especially with the phaser fire. The last little bit is said under his breath.
Very well. And we'll, Cord will double time it to join the other crew.
Okay. So you start making your way down, and you have the same thing as you have this descent. It gets colder and colder, and you're putting your cold weather suits back up, and you find your captain, Commander Miko, and Commander Ifrit down at the bottom. You are standing, all of you, as you can see, there are some cables that snake into a control room to your right that plug into what look like a primitive computer bank. And you can see into the control room through the slightly kind of frosted glass, and it looks like the computers here are monitoring the 3 storage vaults that are just ahead of you. A preliminary scan of this will tell you that each of these vaults is secured behind 2 airlock seals, needing security keys to open, and they appear to contain only seeds. This is the crop diversity that you read about in your mission briefing. But as you step nearer, and there are speakers all about this place, and it has a very bunker-like feel to it. The speakers crackle, and there is a burst of loud feedback. Miko, again, this affects you worse than everybody else with your sensitive hearing. And you start hearing the child crying over these speakers. He sounds inconsolable. He sniffles and then speaks. Please, you have to. And just as he goes to speak, then static cuts off the voice and begins playing before everything goes quiet. A door at the far end of this corridor slides open, and beyond, a white tiled passage extends to another open door. You imagine this leads deeper into the kind of missile silo that you saw before.
Like, Miko is already, making her way towards that area. She's just freaked out, and ears are back, eyes are wide.
The captain would like to back her up, but I would like to use my tactics focus to try and be approaching in a way that gives Miko good cover. Knowing that Miko, I can't really tell other than being cautious. She's in her own thing. So yeah, I want to position myself using the best of my kind of tactics knowledge and security knowledge to give her good cover. As my ears are also wide open listening to this, but I've got the doctor's voice in the back of my head saying, "This is a lure. It's a trap."
Yeah, you do this,
Yes.
and you know, Miko's been on your team a while, and you manage to kind of pair up as you move closer towards this corridor.
Yeah, Cord will move up also, considering he's not going to try to order his superiors to not do things. And he knows Miko; she wouldn't listen anyway. So yeah, he will move up in support, flicking his phaser back to stun. Probably like 7.
Good solid 7.
Yeah, solid 7 stun. So don't want to affect people with heart conditions. So yeah, he'll move up in support zone.
Okay, you head forward down this corridor, and all of you can already tell these walls, they look like they were designed to withstand nuclear strikes. You can tell from the way that they're shaped, the kind of material that they are as you come through. And when you get to the end of the corridor, you can see there is a lift. And this confirms some thoughts that perhaps some of you might have had about the seed vault. This appears to be some kind of almost like doomsday shelter. Inside this lift, as you step inside, it's the only other place to go. You can see that the floors are listed. The floor below you, which is listed as 1, is the control center. You then have security. There appears to be a general store, a medical bay on floor 4. 5 to 10 appear to be residential suites. 11 looks to be called classrooms and library. 12 is recreation. There is a hydroponics on level 13 and pumps and septics. Sorry, I apologize. You are on level 3, not the one above command. Level 5 requires a security key to activate. You can see where there's the key slot in there. But the control center would, you imagine, be where a lot of the main computer systems would be stored and various information. But it's up to you where you would like to go.
And the command module would be the best. Could find out what this place is, what was affecting it. Captain?
I agree, we should find control. This could be a very big space.
Corey, you're able to mind meld, right?
Yes, I am.
Can you just make me a control plus security test, please, in the difficulty of 3?
Control plus security.
And I'm going to spend 2 points of threat to increase the complication range to 2 here.
Will this be something where composure as a focus would be
Absolutely.
applicable? Okay, good. So that's a 15. I'm rolling 2 dice. I'm going to spend some momentum on this.
Okay. How many
Are we
extra dice
full?
would you like? You are full at the moment.
Do y'all mind if I buy 2 dice? Because you said it's difficulty 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can buy 2 dice, that'll be what, 3 momentum?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's roll 4 dice, looking for 15 with a threat range of 5. Okay, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes. So
Okay. As you step into this lift, and you're going to the command level, right?
correct.
As you feel the lift pulling you upwards, in the back of your mind, it's almost like something is reaching out. And for a brief moment, you can hear those whispers. Nobody else on the lift can, but it's just like there is there's something there. The crying of a child somewhere reaching out to you. And then you have to shut it off. your Vulcan training kicks in that you have to shut it off because you don't know what that is reaching out to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, y'all would see. Oh, sorry.
You don't suffer any ill effects. You manage to block it out and keep your composure.
Okay. But yeah, y'all being in the lift and so close to Cord, you would see him kind of like take a sharp intake of a breath, and kind of, and he would look around to see if anybody else looked like they were affected at all, like whether they hear anything, which I assume they wouldn't.
No, nobody. None of you have heard anything, felt anything else.
Okay, Captain. Something is reaching out to me.
In what way?
I believe it's some sort of mental cry. Only with my rigorous mental discipline was I able to shut it out, but I did sense it. It was a cry. It was something reaching out.
Do you not listen to it to find out where this person is if they need help?
Miko. And Cord actually breaks kind of protocol, and it's like, to let something into your mind is ill-advised. I didn't just hear it with my ears, with an external organ that filters things and alerts you. This was crying out directly into my mind. And no, I will not let it in, because I do not know what it is. I barely shut it out.
Something is playing games with us, and it's beginning to understand how we work. And Greenmont is going to be racking her brain. She has a focus of xenobiology. Does she know of any aliens which would have like a ranged telepathy?
There are plenty.
In this system?
Not in this system specifically. This world had no life. It's been in the throes of an ice age for probably a good 1,000 years or so. You've definitely heard of creatures in other places from other missions, but nothing that should appear here. But it may explain why you could all hear the voice of the child crying even before it was being played through the speakers. As you ponder this thought, the lift pings and you step out into a room full of rows of computers and monitors and workstations for around 24 technicians in this control center.
And I think in this moment, sorry Virginia, Greenmont is about to ask Sparrow to see if we can modify our senses to look for basically telepathic ranges, and that's when she realizes that Sparrow isn't with us. That Sparrow had not followed.
Sparrow, you are still in the corridor.
So when Sparrow first came into the sort of silo lobby, as it were, through those doors that opened up, and he spotted the kind of old control panels and systems in the old control room, he'd have just been straight in there. He wants to go play with the old tech.
So have you noticed that? Have you noticed that everyone else has left, or have you just kind of?
He's head down. Ooh, fun stuff I've not played with before, and didn't think they'd all wander off. So he's gone to check the control systems for the silo.
Okay, make me a control engineering test, please.
Okay.
This is difficulty of 2, and the complication range of this test is 3.
Okay. What's our momentum at the moment?
It's currently full, so you're at 6.
Okay, could I buy 1 dice?
Sure.
Okay. So this is control and engineering. Okay. That is 2 successes.
2 successes. You get onto the computer systems, and they are old. They feel like 21st century Earth systems. And you manage to access a video file. There's a lot on here that's degraded over time. and you bring it up and you watch, and it reminds you of kind of like an old video commercial that you've seen when you've looked back at like old films, and there's a voiceover that plays over the track. Tanner Cole, entrepreneur, visionary, savior. A decade ago, he warned global leaders of the coming wide planet catastrophe. No one listened. So he took matters into his own hands, vowing to save our planet's biodiversity and our species. Now the end is in sight, and only 10 berths remain in his revolutionary survival complex. Powered by wind, solar, and backup generators, and with hydroponic gardens and cutting-edge air and water filtration systems, our complex's 150 residents can survive indefinitely. And it's all run by the most advanced computer ever conceived. If you pass our rigorous selection process, the future can be yours for the right price. And there's some images that go through that look like the areas that you're standing in. This is the bunker that it's talking about. And you can see there is the image of a room where he's got these kind of like, almost like what you would think now would be cryostasis pods, but judging by the age of the technology here, they probably wouldn't have even had cryogenic technology. And you can see this room just filled with them. And there's, images of people kind of getting into them and very typical kind of commercial-like aspects. And you look up to say something. The rest of your away team are not here.
Okay, can I try and check something on the system, or is it just this video loopy nonsense?
Up here, it looks to kind of just be this. There's lots of other files. They look like logs. You can click through a couple of them, but there's nothing that gives you any information. Okay. And a lot of it is so far degraded. This advanced computer system that it's talking about doesn't match up to what you're seeing up here, but it's possible that there could be other areas here where that is implemented.
Okay. So if Flip doesn't think he can get anything out of this this computer system, and he looks up and everybody else is gone, he'll wander straight back out into the corridor and basically assume that they've gone down that way as well. And he'll walk down the corridor first to see what's at the end of it.
And this seems like a perfect time for me to tell Virginia that Architect Origins has donated an auto-fail in the next life-threatening situation. May the GM be with our souls.
Wow.
So that's two of those I have now. Oh. Oh, okay. You get to the end of the corridor, Flip. You're safe though, Jay, because you've still got a boon waiting to happen.
I do, don't I? And my D20.
Yeah. I mean, if you think of a situation where you want to have a boon, let me know. If not,
Okay,
I'll try
I've
and
got one in mind,
for you.
I think.
So you get to the end of this corridor, and it is a lift, and you see the same markings that the others would have seen before. I'd actually imagine at this time you can see it kind of beeping up. So you can safely imagine that your away team have gone up to one of the other levels. It pauses at the control center level, and that's where it stays, unless you wish to call the lift.
Sparrow, Commander Cord here. Did you find something to distract you?
I found the old control systems, Commander. Some useful stuff down here when you look around.
Anything on our level we should be worried about?
On your level, I can't tell. I'm still down by the lift. It looks like this was a place for posh rich kids to wait out some kind of apocalypse, though.
We'll keep that in mind.
I assume it looks like the lift says you're on level 2 control.
Yes, would you like to send it back down?
Yes, I think I'll join you, but I'm intrigued by level 5.
We should not split up too much. Something tried to reach out to me, so be aware.
Alright, Commander, I'll attempt to get up to you.
cord up.
I'll either call the lift or see that it starts coming back down towards me.
You call the lift and you can see it coming back down. You get in. Are you going up to the command level?
For now.
Hit the big red button, Jay.
Do the
Hit the big red
stupid
button.
thing.
Do the
Do
stupid
it.
thing.
Okay, fine. He's too interested in all this weird engineering. I know level 5 needed a key,
It
but I
does.
couldn't remember what floor you said what was actually on it. There was another level that was like computers and old hardware and stuff.
So that's the control center, is where there's all the computers.
Yeah.
You then got security, the general store, which is where you're at, the medical bay. 5 to 10 is the residential suites that requires a security key. You've got a library and classrooms, recreation, hydroponics, and then pumps and septic, which is just the water flow and the waste system.
Mm-hmm. Oh, annoyingly though, he'd go back up to control in that case, because I'm not sure he's too interested in their houses. He wants to find all the fun engineering stuff.
Okay, so you head up to control and you join the rest of your away team. All of you up here, if anyone's had a look at computers, you can find a similar video. The control center itself looks to have, there's a glass partition, and there are some backup generators that look like they have long since been idle. You can see the exhaust hoses snaking out of the ceiling. You imagine into other places that filters that out.
Is it possible to access the system regarding knowing that there are now some type of stasis or cryopods here to access the ships or access the systems to find those and what their status are?
Yes, you can. You can find those. Let me have a look. Oddly enough, you can find that there are some kind of stasis pods here. It's listed in, you can see them in the advertisement. They are listed as having, like, their location is clouded by the need to enter a security key, as in a physical key, similar to the one in the lift. Much like 21st century, technology, some things needed somebody to physically enter a key and turn that in order to access something or to change controls to something.
I can't access any type of monitoring systems through the main computer systems.
Not up here, but it does tell you that you might be able to do this through security.
All right.
This just looks like it's where somebody would have sat to keep an eye on stuff kind of generally overall and systems, but security would be where they kept all of the more information for monitoring, perhaps even a copy of that security key.
Captain, I think it might be prudent to go check the stasis pods. I may need the technical abilities of a specialist sparrow, though.
And Greenmont literally pings Sparrow and says, "Report to Commander Efrix. We need to proceed to the stasis pods." And she's now looking at Miko, trying to read Miko's expression, knowing how badly Miko had wanted to find whoever was down here.
And Miko is clearly still incredibly unsettled. She's kind of pacing the room in a way that a cat does when they're like on edge. She's kind of just like, she's keeping like her back to things, and making sure she can see like the room at all times as she's sort of pacing around. And she's clearly pissed and anxious to keep moving to find whoever.
Corrid, what is the most logical and reasonable way to proceed?
Well, I think we should head to security. Therefore, we can possibly monitor the rest of the station. And if not, perhaps there is a security key there to open whatever that is down below. Because if something outside the bounds of normal interaction is happening here, it would probably be behind a highly secured area, logically.
I agree. proceed quickly to security. If we cannot obtain what we need there, then we will proceed down and find another means.
Affirmative, Captain.
And she'll pass along that order to everyone.
Okay, so you're heading down to security.
Correct.
Is that everybody?
I think.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Efrix and Sparrow
We are
heading
rocking
to.
and rolling on our little elevator.
Okay. So we're not going down to the stasis pods then.
That'll be
can't-
stop number 2.
Okay.
You can't. It doesn't tell you where they are at the moment.
In security, we can probably find where they are.
So you get in the lift and you head down into security. Monitors cover the walls here, and you can see they're cycling through various locations within the shelter, which explains all the CCTV cameras you saw when you first kind of came through. There are locked cages here filled with what looks to be primitive weaponry and ammunition kind of through the center of the room. And 3 vehicles sit at the bottom of the concrete ramp that you come down. 2 tractor drones turn to greet you, similar to the ones that you saw upstairs. And one of them turns to you and in a stilted electronic voice says, "Please produce identification." And you can see the little camera is just looking between all of you.
Yeah, Corrid gives a very knowing look to the captain and lieutenant commander of like, shit's about to hit the fan.
And Greenmont gives a very slight nod, but then proceeds to introduce herself. I am Captain Matsuya Greenmont of the Federation vessel Encounter. And then she introduces Miko, Corrid, Efrix, and Sparrow kind of respectively.
Okay. The drone takes a moment and it looks between, and it almost looks like, you know, it is a primitive AI, like it's trying to comprehend, and it says, "Not recognized. Please produce identification."
We are visitors, guests, and then I can't remember what his name was. Was it Yarek Stoltz? Is that his name?
Yannick
Stoltz.
Stoltz is the name of the lead researcher. Tanner Cole is the name of the man that you heard on the kind of infomercial.
So she'll say we are guests of Yannick Stoltz, who was invited by Tanner Cole to this facility. And she'll remove the badge. It's outside, I just remember it's there. Remove the badge from her chest and hold it out as if it were an old school kind of like convention badge or, you know, physical ID.
You see the camera flick down, flicks back up, and it looks between. And then it looks at you, Corrid. And there's almost like the robotic like equivalent of a head tilt before it says, "Entry not permitted, intruder alert, use of deadly force authorized." And you can hear that same round drop into the chamber. You guys will get the first turn though, because you've encountered these before. So we are in initiative.
Yeah, Corrid immediately, he had his phaser in hand, and he thumbed it over to deadly. And so he's going to raise his phaser and shoot the lead one.
Okay, go ahead and make that attack roll for me. It's going to be control and security at difficulty 2.
Okay, and for my minor action, can I dive into cover?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so basically I'm basically shooting on the run to hop behind either a corner or a seat, I don't know, anything.
It's not so much a corner here, but you can kind of prop yourself up behind one of the weapons cages.
Oh, that's safe. Okay. And so that's going to be a target of 15, threat range of 5. And wow. What a whiff. So, nothing happens, and I dive into cover as, And again, I have a quick to action, so on the first round we ignore and to retain initiative.
So yeah, you can either choose to keep the initiative now using that, and it doesn't cost you anything, or you can hand it over to me and one of the drones to take a turn. It's up to you guys.
I think we should keep the initiative, and I'm going to hand it over to the captain.
That's cool. Virginia, I have to value young, scrappy, and hungry on not throw away my shot, as well as family is forged in phaser fire. And I want to follow kind of Corrid's lead. I imagine the whole time she was doing the introduction with one hand, the other hand was down on the phaser, kind of getting ready.
Okay.
And she'd like to also fire.
Okay, so if you want to, you can spend your determination. So that can give you an automatic 2 successes if you like, or you can introduce a truth that will make things a bit easier.
Ooh, I would like to introduce a truth that will make things a little bit easier. So these are old tech, and I would like to think that with this cold condition, the little rollers they're running on have like kind of decayed and rusted, and I think one is like slightly off balance, and as it moves on us, it's completely, it like wonkies.
Okay,
it wibbles
sure.
and it wobbles. And it'll affect
will-
its ability to interact
Okay,
with
so
us.
it won't make it easier for you to shoot, but it'll make it more difficult to attack you. So go ahead and take that shot then. That's going to be control and security with a difficulty of 2.
Okay.
You have got 6 points of momentum at the moment if you want any dice before you roll.
You said control and security, correct?
Yeah.
So I'm on 10. Yeah, I'm going to take an extra dice, please, Virginia.
Sure.
Give you a momentum for that, please. All 3 succeed. What's the... Is it under the attribute or the discipline?
It's under the discipline if you've got a focus.
Tactics? Composure?
Tactics will work. So imagine
Okay.
that's 5 successes.
So you said under the discipline, so my security's
Under
3,
discipline.
so 2 of those are under.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow,
that's
one's
2,
on.
4. 2, 4. So 5
5.
successes, equal to what under.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get a really good shot in on this thing with the wonky tracks. Go ahead and roll your d6s for me, please, Charlie. However many it is next to your phaser.
Phaser is 5 d6s.
Roll those for me and let's see what you get.
Pew.
So the 4 is a miss. That's 2 1s and then 2 6s. That's 4 points overall, and it's got some resistance. So let me mark this off here. Cool. Not quite enough to cause it an injury, but you get a pretty good shot on it. And with that wonky wheel, you know, it's not doing very well. You can see part of that camera is now just split off from the side, and it's burnt all up the front. But it is now the security drone's turn.
Can I, as like our free action, issue the command to get to cover to my crew, since we're in a little murder box right now?
You can, but no one's going to be able to act on it just yet.
That's fine. Just
But
like
you can
that's the
shout
free
it
action
out.
as I get to cover.
Corrid, you're behind cover, but Greenmont, you are still out in the open, and so it's going to go for you, and I'm going to spend some threat here. So I'm going to roll 3 dice. And it's a ranged attack, so it's difficulty 2, and that is enough to hit. So it is ranged. It does 4 of these. So that is 1, 2, that's 4, 5, 6. That is 6 points of stress.
Okay.
And let me have a look. It's got some effects. Intense. Here we go. So this is going to cause you an injury, Charlie, and 1 injury in this game is enough to basically knock you unconscious into dying. Now, if you want, you can avoid that injury once per scene by spending some threat or momentum. So to
I
avoid
think-
the injury,
In the spirit of the donation we had, I'll just get knocked unconscious, and I'll take that auto fail that we had.
okay, so you will watch as Captain Greenmont gets off a good shot, and as she turns to shout for all of you to get to cover, you hear the sound of machine gun fire. You hear the lead hitting various bits of the room, and you watch as Captain Greenmont drops in front of this drone. into a small pool of blood which is soaking her shirt. What are you all doing?
Well, the doctor's running forward to the captain.
Okay.
To pull her to safety and begin treating her injury.
Okay, I'm going to say it's going to be your minor action to kind of move up there, but to actually drag her back, that's going to be your major action for the turn, to actually get her behind cover and start kind of pulling the top up to see what the damage is.
All right.
What is everyone else doing? Are you guys holding the initiative, or are you going to hand it back to me and the other drone?
I think we should hold it.
Yeah.
It's free.
It's not now, because you've already held it once in this round.
Oh, I thought it was the whole first round. Never mind.
So, who is taking the next turn then?
I would imagine Flip would probably, I mean, he'd already have his phaser out and ready, but probably look to the first officer because he's not a combat specialist and see if Commander Miko's going to do anything before he does what he's going to try.
So just because this will still be like your turn, but as you look at Miko, like she's like down, ready in a combat pose, like the claws have just ripped through her glove. She's got her fangs bared. She's like at these robots.
In which case,
so go ahead.
I was going to say, well, I was going to say Flip would probably see that and see that the commander's ready to go, and would let her do whatever it is she's going to do while he fumbles and gets his phaser out.
Okay, Commander Miko, you watch as your captain drops.
So, Captain's down. Miko's pissed. One of her values is, I have 9 lives, I know no fear. So she's just gonna charge one of these robots.
Okay.
She's just gonna run at it.
Would you like to use this to get 2 automatic successes?
Yes.
Okay. In which case you have your 2 automatic successes and you charge forward and just go ahead and roll for your unarmed damage if this is what you're doing.
Yep. Okay, let's go.
So that is 1 point of damage. You can spend a point of momentum if you like to re-roll those 2 failed ones.
Hey guys, can I do that? How much momentum we got?
You've got 4 at the moment.
Oh yeah, all right then. Yeah, I'll do that. Spend 1 to re-roll those 2 4s.
Mm-hmm.
6 and a 2.
There we go. So that is 1, 2. That's 4 points. And this is the same one the captain attacked, right?
Yeah.
Which was also for... Oh, wrong thing. You start tearing this thing apart, and although it's mostly made of metal, you look for the weak spots where you can get in and start ripping. And as you do this, you start pulling it apart, you hear the rounds drop into the chamber as it sounds like it's about to, you're standing right in front of it as it's about to fire. And then suddenly, they all stop. The little red light on the camera dies. And an intercom on the wall hums to life. A cold, layered voice speaks, as if dozens of people are saying the same words. Apologies. Our drones, they don't always obey. They have a mind of their own, our creations. Please, come to the medical bay. You can treat your injuries. The voices separate, and they begin shouting over each other. The shouts turn to screams and cackling laughter.
So at this point, the robots have stopped. Captain's down, so Miko is in charge. She turns, she's Corid, secure the area. Sparrow, help Corid. Efrix, what is happening to the captain?
I'm treating the captain.
You know, looking at Captain Greenmont's injuries, that you will need a medical bay in order to treat her effectively.
I do have focus of field medicine focus of emergency medicine, talent of field medicine. I have an emergency surgical kit, and talents that include field medicine, or values that include life is precious in all its forms, my crew is my family, and everyone goes home.
Yeah.
And I have an auto success. I'm going to get the captain, if not stabilized, if not up on our feet, definitely stable.
Okay. You were going to use your auto success then?
Yes, I will use my auto success.
Okay, you hypo sprays and dressings and coverings, and the captain was starting to go into shock, and you managed to bring her back. And Captain Greenmont, you open your eyes and you're laying on the floor. The entire front of you hurts as you look down, and your gold tunic is stained red where you have been shot at. And Commander Fricks is over you, plugging you with hypo sprays, and in a moment the pain that you feel goes as the whole front of your chest goes numb, and you take in a
never
deep breath.
heard of a field demotion. And she's like holding that bloody tunic on her stomach.
Be still, Captain. It's going to be all right. I believe it washes out.
I'm sure you're right.
Commander Miko, as you're watching this, trying to secure the room and keep eyes, you can't help but watch to see if your captain is okay. And then it dawns on you as you're listening to this, there's a gentle tapping behind you, and you feel a tug on the bottom of your dress.
Spin around. Almost with this like...
As you turn around and you look down, you can see this strange little service robot, not looking like the others. It's got two stubby little legs, and a metal arm has unfolded from this drone and is what's tugging at the bottom of your dress. And as soon as you pay it any attention, it kind of turns around slightly waddlingly and walks towards one of the doors. And it turns back and it's tapping one of the toes on its three-toed feet as if waiting for you. And as you look past the door, it looks like it's an office.
She puts up a hand, says, "Courage, you stay with the captain. You do not leave her. Sparrow with me."
No.
Captain.
The captain
Shouldn't you
needs
go back to the ship?
bay. Yes,
Beam me back to the ship. Finish the mission. Find any survivors. Find
I'll do your part,
what is
Captain.
here.
Charlie, I will say, you are patched up enough that if you wanted to stay with the away team, you could.
I think she should be beamed
just
back to the ship.
Yep.
I think walking wounded is not a good idea.
So the chief medical officer will then contact the ship using the communicator, and one to beam up directly to sick bay, to have her medical team standing by to receive the captain.
Okay. And Captain Greenmont, you are beamed back aboard the ship. Miko, this robot is still kind of tapping, almost impatiently at you, as it takes its robotic arm and starts waving you towards it, and then turns to look into this office.
Remember, they did say that their drones have minds of their own, and they can't control them sometimes.
I am aware.
How much do we want to trust the voices?
I'll trust
It's
a robot
always
over
got-
voices any day.
It's all we have right now. It's the most intelligence we have. It's the first sign of something we have, so we should investigate. What are you all? Come on.
Chief of security. Besides, there seems to be some kind of quadrupedal guard dog in the next room.
And the tapping on the toe continues as it's beckoning at you, Miko.
All right, everyone, eyes up. Be ready for anything. And then she'll follow.
You follow, and as soon as it sees you walking towards it, it carries on into this office, and it waits by a bookcase in here until, I'm assuming, everybody makes their way in.
Yeah, Flip will be like following behind it with his tricorder out, like, ooh, okay, cool.
You watch as it moves around the bookcase oddly, and you're wondering if something's gone wrong, because it's almost like watching something bump into it in a video game, until it steps on a tile that depresses slightly, and the bookcase swings open, revealing another lift. The doors open, and the droid kind of goes in, extends an arm, which slots into a security key slot and turns for level 5. And then just kind of turns to look at you, Miko. As if waiting for you to step into the lift along with the others.
She steps in.
Cord gives the lieutenant commander a bit of a look and then follows orders.
She just narrows her eyes at him, like.
You all
Flip
step
straight
into,
in, ignoring everybody else, still fascinated.
You all step into this lift, and with a jerk, you see it goes down to level 5. The doors open, and the drone is the first out, kind of wobbling out cautiously. And ahead of you, there is a large room and a very short corridor with some rooms either side. And its mechanical arm kind of puts a hand up as if to say wait, as it inspects this corridor and looks down either side. And satisfied, it waddles back to you and beckons you into a small side room, where it plugs itself into a console and monitor. The monitor sparks to life, and letters painstakingly appear one by one on a screen. We are monsters. You must destroy us. Please. 2 images then flash on the screen in rapid succession. A young boy in a long grey hallway. His shaggy black hair sticks out in all directions. His ragged clothes hang from a skinny frame, and he glances towards the camera with a look of fear on his face, as if he's about to be caught. Then the image changes to the missing outpost personnel, strapped into surgical chairs in what appears to be this level's main room that you saw just ahead, and the screen goes dark. The drone shakes from side to side as if in warning before it shuts down. Whatever that entity is, it's different, and it's intelligent. And looking out of this side corridor, you can see a room full of these stasis pods. Just like in the advertisement, but run down, dusty. You can see the surgical chairs, and you recognize the uniforms of the other Starfleet outpost personnel here, all in with the backs of the craniums looking like they have been removed. There's a large server tower, and what you would recognize, Flip, as a quantum computer in the center of this room.
He's off. Straight towards
And she's like,
the
spat out!
and the computer.
So you dodge
Cord
off.
arches an eyebrow at that.
There's an enormous server tower here, and you can see that lights are blinking. As you get close, as you move past the personnel, you can see the skulls have been opened and implanted with electrode arrays feeding into this server. There's a multi-armed surgical robot attached to each chair, which is currently dormant, and a humanoid robot doctor comes around from the other side of this server. Synthetic skin covering only half of the metallic cranium as it examines the bodies one by one. One of the arms hangs useless at its side, and it ignores your presence entirely. A web of cables fan out behind the server, connecting to each of these stasis pods. 150 in total.
Specialist, before you touch anything, the commander, is going to move forward and very closely examine these bodies, but also taking what we've seen and heard. One of her traits as the Nebulan is that attempting a task to learn about an unfamiliar culture or to act in an appropriate manner when interacting with members of such a culture, I get to reduce the difficulty by 1. So I think the commander would like to physician interact and determine just what is going on.
Okay. So you're going to try and talk to it?
Yes. As a physician to a physician.
You approach it. And it again, just like with Flip Sparrow, who's now having a look at this huge quantum server tower, it doesn't acknowledge your presence. What do you say to it because you kind of go up to it and you expect, like you have done with other autonomous tech, for it to acknowledge you, and it doesn't.
The commander has medical scanner out and is scanning over the body of the crew, that was the team that was stationed here, taking our own ratings. It's very, very interesting procedures, protocols. Oh, quite. I'm not quite following what your intent was here. Oh, I do like the way those are attached. And perhaps you could tell me, just take me step by step through the process, please.
Make me a presence medicine test.
Okay.
Difficulty 2.
All right. Will my focus of composure help me with this?
Not here, no. This is more you trying to get its attention.
Okay, so presence medicine. Oh dear. Just trying to think if I have anything else that will help me with this. That's what I can do. Here we go. Oh, that's 2 successes, and a 4 is below the medicine and presence. So I have a medicine of 5 and a presence of 8.
Okay, so that's a 3 successes in total?
Yep.
You say this to it, and eventually it kind of looks up at you. And it opens its mouth as if to speak, and nothing comes out. Except you do start hearing those same whispers, whispering around somewhere, coming from the audio. And Flip Sparrow, you can hear this too, and as the whispers rise, this quantum computer, the lights on it start going crazy. And you can hear, "We have control of your vessel. If you wish to save the lives of your crewmates, you will do exactly as you're told. You wanted to know what the bodies are. The bodies are for us. We will live again in corporeal form." And it's this kind of slightly maddened voice that sounds like hundreds of voices layered over the top.
But they're not your bodies.
Miko walks up to Sparrow, and she just very, leans on his shoulders as she's looking over his shoulder to see what he's saying. And she whispers, "Find a way to shut it down."
We could learn.
You do remember, though, Starfleet General Order 2 about intelligent life forms. You then get a call from the ship. Lieutenant Commander Miko. It's not the captain, it's the bridge officer in charge. "Lieutenant Commander."
Yes?
"Everything's gone haywire. There's some kind of virus controlling all of the systems. We're on backup life support. We keep seeing strange messages, and then the communication goes dead. And the strange voice comes again, and Flip Sparrow, the lights on this machine go haywire. If you prefer death, your crew is healthy and abundant. We will call them down to us one by one if we must, using your own voices to issue commands. We'll prove it." Commander Corrid, there's somebody aboard the USS Encounter who is very important to you. Who is that person?
A fellow Vulcan works down in the botany labs. they have struck up a bit of a rapport, and so not we haven't taken it too far, not pun far, but hey.
Okay, I'm gonna say.
But that's not for another year or so.
I'm gonna say. So it's he or she or.
She, yeah.
She. Her name is Lieutenant Tavar, and before you know it, materializing in front of your eyes is Lieutenant Tavar, confused. Yes, she looks over to you, Miko. Yes, Commander, you called for me.
No, I did not.
You see a very
the voices
pointed
begin
look.
to laugh.
And at this point, she just kind of turns to address the voices. She's just kind of speaking to the room at this point. What do you want then? What do you want from us?
You are going to go and be good in that room. And when we're ready, we will begin the procedure. We assure you it is quite painful. But your lives for the lives of your crew, so we might live again in corporeal form. And then the voices just disappear. And you watch as the activity on the server disappears. And I'm going to let you guys discuss what you want to do for about 2 minutes, and then I will be right back with you.
So, fuck General Order 2, right?
Yeah. And technically we're not killing a sentient, we're merely disconnecting its power source that allows it to interact with the material world.
Right? It's already killing people.
It's in the server.
That is incredibly specific lawyer speak, but I believe that this life is still intelligent, although I think that the situation supersedes Order 2. I think that these people have been stored somehow, in the only way that the AI knew how. And now they seek to rejoin the corporeal world. So their senses, their life, could possibly be stored on some of these servers.
Indeed, and by just disconnecting the server's ability to interact with everything else, we're not destroying the lives within the servers.
You wish to block their access. I see.
Correct.
V, I assume there's been some scanning going on here by the doctor and everything. Do any of the crew, do they appear alive still at all?
No, it looks like whatever procedure was performed failed.
Is there any readings from the other 150 in the tubes?
Did you want to check those tubes out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Flip just wants to touch everything.
I'll help Flip with that.
And Cord will move over to Lieutenant Miko so that they can converse. If there's nothing but electronic sensors here, they can probably hear every word that they're saying. And he puts his hand on the side of Miko's head so that they can converse in a mind meld.
Okay, let's do Flip Sparrow's thing first.
Okay.
So Flip Sparrow, you go over to the pods. They are human-sized, and you can clearly tell from the small displays on there that they are all malfunctioning. They would have once preserved a body in suspended animation, but something happened. A power failure. You don't know. But the bodies inside are corpses now. Turned to bone and some to dust. You gather by the interaction between this server and the stasis pods that people transferred their conscious minds into this quantum server, perhaps with the hope that at some point they could return to their bodies. But when the stasis chambers malfunctioned, they became trapped in this circuitry for who knows how long. It looks like that perhaps maybe this consciousness was trying to download itself into the personnel that it had brought here and failed. And there's a good chance that if these things have been trapped long enough, if Freaks, you also come to this conclusion with Flip Sparrow, that it may be impossible to separate these entities again.
Do I think that it's possible to try to reason with them, or are they mad? Insane.
You've got a focus in psychology, right? Or psychiatry?
Okay, right. And also the trait of that helps me when I interact with unknown cultures to a inappropriate manner when interacting with them.
Yeah.
Or to learn something about them.
The collective consciousness that you've had contact with would appear to be what you would define as clinically insane. The other consciousness, the one that you are now gathering is the crying child, the one that led you here. Check the corridor to make sure it was clear before leading you into a room. It's a separate consciousness, an intelligent consciousness that doesn't seem to be bound the same way. You've seen this consciousness, create speech without the need for an electronic system, transfer itself through these ones. But the collective insane consciousness you've only heard through the comms system. Perhaps the consciousness of the boy is something else.
Are there cameras in this room? Security cameras in this room?
There are some, not quite as many as others. These ones, there's like 2 or 3 that kind of look over the whole room. What would you all like to do as you can hear what sounds like tracks on the floor coming from somewhere? You can't see any of them yet. And you can just hear this consciousness laughing again.
Is there a way of communicating between the others, with Commander Cord and Lieutenant Commander Miko and Sparrow, that I think would not be picked up by the mad consciousness, whatever's in the quantum computer?
It's hard to tell, but you've only got moments to make decisions about what you're doing. Korid and Miko, you wanted to do a mind meld? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, he puts his hand up on Miko's side of her face, and my mind to your mind, we are connecting, and kind of goes through the mantra really quick. But I have a talent for it, so I assume she allows it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a strange thing having somebody else in your mind, Miko, because not only can Korid, you feel Miko's presence, you can feel each other's presences in your mind. It's like there's a bit of you now that can see into Korid, but it's locked off, and you're not quite sure how to navigate this, but you trust that Korid will draw you through this.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, he kind of leads you through, you see a towering, kind of structure that is the physical representation of his Vulcan intellect and logic. And he leads you through a very, very simple door with no handle. And then you can kind of see him face to face once you cross through it, as he's allowed you into his mind. Basically, when you come in here, it is a representation of the room that we are in, just kind of hazy and glowy. And he's like, I'm not sure that destroying the server will cripple this thing, but it might help before it's too late.
Yes, I agree. We certainly cannot allow it to take the ship or any of the crew.
Yes. Perhaps going along with its plan at first will distract it.
Perhaps it might buy Specialist Sparrow some time. Commander Fricks.
Well, why don't you lead them in there, and I will worry about destroying the server out here.
I can't let you do that, Commander Corrid.
Well, the ship needs a leader, and right now that is you.
The captain is fine.
She is not here.
No.
You are.
The ship also needs a chief of security.
Well, it's not a suicide mission per se, for that would be illogical. But
Mm-hmm.
I have some knowledge of computer systems, and I am the best shot.
Are you? Do you really believe
Yes.
that, Corrid?
Yes.
This isn't some Vulcan pride sneaking through here, is it?
Pride is not even in the equation.
Hmm. And she
Well,
sort
I
of
have
like...
not. Well, I have not taken the Kalinar. I have my emotions well in check.
Hmm.
I have to ask, while you're having this happening, Flip Sparrow, what are you doing? Because you did say to me you were touching everything.
Oh yeah.
And you do
So
still have
basically-
a boon.
I do. Basically now, Flip he touched everything because it's old tech, and he's amazed that like from that corny advert they created these cryopods and we're trying to do this weird sentient AI stuff. But he is still aware of the situation and he can hear the tracks coming. So at the moment he wants to look at the server in the middle and try and figure out two options. One, whether or not he can just shut down the power to it, and if he can't, if there's any way he can cause a massive surge.
You don't know if you can shut it down, but you could absolutely overload it. I'm going to
Then-
say the first thing you're going to have to do is identify the motherboard. This is a
Okay.
reason engineering task, and it's normally difficulty 3, but I will give you a boon here in that you know quantum computers.
I do.
I'm going to lower the difficulty to 1.
Amazing.
As you're just like button pressing away while the two commanders are getting into this really deep thing. So why don't you roll that and we'll see what's going on with Miko and Corrid and Freaks.
Okay.
Well, you've just been left to press buttons.
Yeah. So this is which traits and disciplines would this be?
Reason and engineering.
So okay. All right.
Miko, Corrid, Freaks, what are you doing as Flip Sparrow's just been left to press buttons as you can hear the tracks rolling in?
As a Freaks was processing this information and then catching out of the corner of her eye what Sparrow is doing, she would go over and very quietly whisper into his ear what she had reasoned out with in regards to the voices and the separate consciousness, and would then assist in whatever way she could.
Okay. I will say you could assist with reason and science if you like. And I will let you roll to assist. So you roll 1d20 and you can add any of your successes to Flips.
Okay. I was just looking to see if I had anything that would help me with that.
I would say your psychology focus here, or psychiatry focus will
Okay.
apply.
Okay.
Miko, Corrid, what are you doing as Flip and Freaks are now working away at the quantum computer and you're still kind of locked in this mind meld? You're both vaguely aware of the sound of tracks and the sound of whispering voices, and you can hear it now, what Corrid was hearing. And the voice of a young boy saying, "Please, yes, yes. We are monsters, please. Stop them." Just somewhere echoing in the back like a distant voice off in a chamber.
Cord will kind of turn around and call out to that voice. "Come here, child. Come closer." And hoping that the fact that we're bonded, maybe our collective mental energy can withstand it.
You see, as you're looking into this room, what looks to be a blue light coming from the server. In this mental image of the room that you've built, and this light pulses. You have to stop them. I don't want to be guilty, and they won't stop.
Where is their light?
And the ball just kind of circles round the server. They've started. You have to help them. And the light kind of just fades and disappears.
And with that, he kind of snaps out of it.
You snap
And
out,
look
and
over.
you can see Flip Sparrow and a Freaks away at the computer.
Just kind of give Cord the nod of like, we help, and then dash off.
Yeah, we'll run over there. Flip, whatever you're doing, do it faster and better.
So I can see that there are 2 successes there and a complication.
Yeah. What was
Flip, do you have...
I was rolling
it'll
science
be,
plus...
reason plus science.
Reason plus science. Oh yeah, that's definitely a success.
Flip, do you have any values that you might be able to spend determination to re-roll that 20 on?
I've got a few, possibly. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. So I have all this knowledge, and I have to apply it and use it. But also with Commander Efrix helping me, collaboration is the key to solving our most challenging problems.
Okay,
So
sure. I'll
with
let you spend
help.
that determination to re-roll that 20.
Oh, thank God.
That doesn't work. Can I use one of my values to berate him into being better at his job?
Yeah, because that always helps
Stuck it.
engineers hovering over their shoulders. Fix it faster.
You're basically like taking this motherboard apart, and Frix is helping you because this is like the brain of this consciousness. And that is 3 successes, so that is enough. You manage to spot the motherboard, and Frix, you work it out by how it's all wired up, thinking about your knowledge of the brain. Somebody, or 2 of you, are going to have to try and cross-circuit the computer, and the other 2 are going to have to try and convince that other entity, because Starfleet General Order, yes, it prevents you from killing life forms that are intelligent, but this one is harmful. There is nothing that you can do to take it back to its previous state, but the intelligence of the boy, that child in this machine, is something else. It came to you in a form other than this consciousness, in this ball of light, and it's not unlike other creatures that you've heard of that perhaps reach other stages once they transgress into these forms. So in order to follow Starfleet Order General 2, you have to ensure that that life form still exists. So who is doing what?
I will try and get the boy. I will be on that bit.
Oh. Okay. Never mind.
No, what did you want to do? If it's cool, we'll do it.
I was
It's
totally going to
2-on-8.
put my hand on the server and say, and basically be like, I will remember you, and like try to take the boy's consciousness.
Okay, so we have Miko and Corid dealing with the boy, and Flip Sparrow and a Freaks trying to cross-circuit this computer. Okay, so this is control.
I believe in you.
This is control or daring, Flip Sparrow, with engineering, and it's difficulty 3 to cross-circuit these and overload it. Freaks, you can tell me how you want to assist in this. What is Freaks doing? How is she helping Flip Sparrow with this?
This is wiring of a brain. It is xenobiology. If you'll give me that.
Sure.
As well as composure, as focus is. Life is precious in all its forms is one of her values, but this is not life. This is not living. And so I think what she's trying to do is using one of her other values that the crew, everyone goes home, to override that thought of this is a xenobiological life form.
Okay. So make your rolls for me, please. As you can see security drones coming into the room now, and you have, pardon me, moments.
So can I do a load of special nonsense?
Yes, you can.
So I need difficulty 3, right?
Yeah.
So I could bring quantum computing, I guess, to bear on this.
Yeah.
And then I've got a requirement, so I'd like to buy 2 additional dice.
Yeah. Is this using bold or?
Yeah, I was going to use bold. Yeah.
So bold is giving me threat.
Oh,
is when you buy 2
why
additional
not?
dice.
Let's do it.
Go for it
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're already threatened.
Yeah, but already bad enough. Yes. So I think that will give. So I've got 2 extra d20s, and that gives me a reroll, I think.
And what am I rolling, Virginia?
If you're going that way, I'm going to say this will be insight and science.
Okay.
And for clarity, I'm going to go with daring and engineering. The 2
Okay. Make those rolls for me, please.
Oh no, it helps if I drop them on the actual board. There we go. Oh, well, that's so many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I
successes.
think those are d12s that you've rolled there, Jay.
Yeah,
no.
they are.
Yeah.
They are.
I mean, shh. Where are my 20s? Oh, hang on. It's because it's dropped the 20 over there. Put you back over here. All right, try that again. I'll use my bold requirement to re-roll that 20.
Yeah.
There you are.
Okay. So that is the 7's a success, the 9's a success, the 3 is 2 more successes, and the 16 is a success. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
You are working away, rewriting it. Freaks, using your knowledge of the brain and your understanding of what you know of this consciousness, you're helping as well as you're translating it back and forth between the engineering speak and the speak of the brain and the consciousness. Miko and Corid, what are you doing? Trying to uphold Starfleet Order 2.
Cord was, I think, attempting to meld with the server itself to try to find this entity and coax it to piggyback for a bit.
Okay.
Until we can find some place to put it.
I would normally make this a roll, but I do still have 1 crit fail remaining.
There you are.
You touch your hand to the server, and as you begin deeper, and you can sense that blue light, something pushes you out. That angry, insane, unstable consciousness forces you out, and you are going to take a little bit of stress here. Or you're not, because I didn't roll any, but for a moment it stuns you. You're going to have to do something bigger, something better than just that. That consciousness is in the way. It's like it's going to take this other being with it too.
So Miko just starts speaking, but she starts speaking towards the boy, and she has a talent, occasion talent, disarming nature, which is like, it makes people like you more because you're a cute little kitty cat. And she's basically just gonna address this child presence, and she's gonna say, nope, different voice, wrong character voice. I understand that these other presences are standing in your way and they are stopping you from joining us, but we can offer you safety, we can offer you freedom with Starfleet. Come with us. You will have a moment. My specialist is over here. He's doing everything he can to free you, but I need you to be strong. I need you to push past. I need you to fight. Can you do that for me?
Corey, do you do anything to aid Miko?
Yes, he'll stand up and just be and basically support Miko in that. Who knows how long you have been here, and you have survived. You have survived because you were small and unnoticeable. Use that. Find a way past what is blocking you, as you have possibly so many times before. There is a path to escape, and we will be waiting if you find it.
Sorry, Susie, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you going to say?
No.
Okay. Okay. I need you to make me a presence and command test, Susie.
Ooh, okay.
And Corrid, I want you to assist with an insight. Either insight command or insight science.
Can I do command?
Yeah?
Okay. And I have survival and composure. And so, can I use survival?
Will work here.
Okay.
Yeah, survival will work here as well.
Okay.
And you're just rolling 1d20 to assist. You still have 3 points of momentum in your pool. Did you want to buy any, Susie?
Yes. Do I just buy 1 or 2? Because does Sparrow need to make any more rolls?
No.
All right, I'm
buying
buying 2.
That's as well anyway.
Yeah, I'm buying 2. Sorry.
Okay.
Spending all the momentum. Well, I needed to get under 15, and that is 3 successes.
That is. And you
failed.
manage it. Just as Flip Sparrow connects up the last few bits with Commander Ifrit also grabbing handfuls of cables, you watch as a blue light emerges from this server tower, as suddenly it all goes up in sparks. Lights and flashes blowing from it, and you can see the explosions along the length of the cables into the cryopods full of the dust and the bones of the people that now make up this consciousness. And eventually the lights on the quantum computer go out suddenly. No more. The consciousness gone. The computer that housed it dead. But you still have this blue orb of light. And upon returning to the ship and cataloguing what has happened here, this ball of light tells you that it was once a child, the son of somebody who was in this complex, whose mind was uploaded, a split-second decision by a father desperate to save his son. And Starfleet recognizes it as its own separate entity, a living entity. But what powers it might hold, and knowledge it might have, is unknown, as you are all, rightfully so, given shore leave as your captain recovers. And you are commended for upholding Starfleet's principles in what is one of the most difficult situations. And that was Plato's Cave.
Yay!
Hi, bye.
Go
Hey.
team!
Have fun!
We are gonna hustle through our outros here tonight, because coming up straight on the tail of this is Mega City 1, worst block ever, Freedom Falls with Judge Dredd and the worlds of 2000 AD. But before we dive into that, let's go around, say hi to everyone and goodbye to everyone, and let's begin with the wonderful J. Pruink. How you doing, Commander Corey?
Doing all right. Survived. Red shirt intact, and had an absolute blast. Thank you for having me here. It's been a bit of a hiatus for me from the gamings, but it was fun to be back with all you people playing Commander Corrid, and I hope to play some Star Trek Adventures in the very near future, because I got these ears and I need to keep using them because I can't seem to take them off. But please check out WebDM, the co-host for. Check out our Patreon if you want a podcast every week. And so happy gaming to everybody. And of course, live long and prosper.
Thank you so much, Prue. Please do go and check out the wonderful work of WebDM over on YouTube, Patreon, and more. And Cleric of Cord, we're going to be seeing you shortly, but how was playing Commander Ifrex?
It was wonderful. I love this. It was so much fun. I love this character. I love this crew. got to check another box off on the gaming list of getting to finally play with Jay Prue. So, yay! Bit of goal. Anyway, thank you everybody that showed up. Please go check this module out. It is wonderful. Modifius has done some really great stuff with Star Trek in this world, and I love it. And let us boldly go.
And let us boldly continue on round to the wonderful Jay, joining us for the first time tonight. Hopefully having you back soon.
Yes, please. I very much enjoyed that, and I'm so happy. I could see chat giving me so much beep about being a red shirt and immediately dying, and I made it. Ha ha! In your faces. That was amazing. I loved it. Loved Star Trek. It was fun to be an engineer who was far too giddy about stuff. I'm Jay Britton. You can find me on Twitter, Voice Jay Britton, or I will be streaming tomorrow. It's probably some just Destiny getting handed my bottom in the Crucible, and then I'm streaming tomorrow night with some pumpkin carving with Amelia Tyler, who some of you may know from Encounter Roleplay's Call of Cthulhu. I've never carved a pumpkin, and she gave me a lot of shit for it, so I'm carving a pumpkin tomorrow night. So feel free to come and watch me be told off. But that was awesome, and yes, lots and lots of fun. Thank you to all my crew as well for not letting me die while I ran off.
And thank you very much for sticking your fingers in all the holes and pushing the big red button.
Of course.
Always willing to push the big red button, Susanna Grace.
That's me. I absolutely adore Star Trek. I adore everybody here. This was so much fun to play. I guess Pruitt's all right, maybe. But yeah, thank you for having me back for another one shot. I am Susanna Grace, otherwise known as Susie. I'm a variety streamer who does video games, art streams, and tabletop RPGs. You will find me again next on, right here actually, on Sunday for the Meat Grinder, when Lady Sana will ride again in the Tawny Joust, and she's going to win this time. I sweat. If I lose again, there will be trouble. You will hear about it on Twitter for weeks, so don't let me lose. Donate, and it's for good charity too. But yeah, that's me. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.
Awesome. Stick around and enjoy Judge Dredd with us, DM'd also by the wonderful Virginia, aka Tabletop Horde. Hi, V.
Hi. Yeah, I'm going to be on Dread in a few minutes after this show ends, so please stick around for that because it's going to be fun. They're starting a block war, apparently, so we'll see what happens. But yes, running this has been awesome. I really love this adventure. I've run it before and it's a whole lot of fun. You should definitely go out if you're a Star Trek fan and have a look, especially if you've already got the core book. Strange New Worlds has got some awesome missions, one of which was written by our very own, much loved Sam, which is an awesome mission.
Sam is also GMing that charity stream on Sunday, so come give him some love.
Yeah. Otherwise, you can follow me on Twitter at Tabletop Horde, where you can see all of the stuff that I'm doing, of which there should be plenty coming up.
Awesome. And with that said, I'm Frost from Fire. I'm also Encounter Roleplay. I'm going to be back in a hot second. Let's play out the trailers, and we will see you all very soon. Thanks for joining us, friends. Remember, go boldly and live long and prosper.